Now, in association with Kingston Smith, live from the Alban Arena, The Business, Retailer of the Year 2014. With Richard Edwards, Victoria Scott, Ellie O'Fira and Roma Bomick.
Welcome to the Retailer of the Year Awards. I'm Roma Bomick and I'm here with Victoria Scott to present a special live broadcast of The Business from the Retailer of the Year Awards here at the Alban Arena in the heart of St Albans. We're here to celebrate a great annual event and to bring the atmosphere and excitement of the awards to our listeners and give local businesses some well-deserved praise. Vicky, tell us more.
Well, it's great to be here in the middle of St Albans. We're waiting for the awards, which will be starting about 8 o'clock. The awards are sponsored by the Review newspaper, and it's a joint initiative between the Review, St Albans District Council, St Albans Civic Society and St Albans District Chamber of Commerce. This is the second time we've broadcast live from the awards. It was fantastic last year and we enjoyed it so much we decided we'd better come back for some more.
Well, sadly some of us missed it last year, Vicky, so I'm really looking forward to it. The Retailer of the Year committee took to the streets of St Albans in April to launch the 2014 competition. Shoppers had the chance to pick up nomination forms to put forward their favourite retailer for each of the 6 categories, and they were Specialist Shop, Food and Drink, Market Trader, Hair and Beauty, Fashion Accessories, and finally, Cafes and Restaurants. The evening will end with an overall winner who will be awarded the prestigious title of Retailer of the Year. Last year, it was won by the Alternative Barbering Company, who also won the Hair and Beauty category. Here's how they did.
And this year's winner is the Alternative Barbering Company.
And tonight, the overall winner is... it's the Alternative Barbers!
Oh, and the Alternative Barbering Company wins it. Congratulations, Sam. How do you feel?
I'm amazed, really. I didn't expect it. I'm proud of everyone who works for me. I'm happy that everyone else is happy, really, that what we offer is what we set out to do.
And it's just growing, because you've got your wet shave room downstairs as well. So you're just growing and growing.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be another one soon somewhere else, and we can keep going and keep doing the same stuff.
And then we'll be your flagship.
Well, yeah, St Albans will always be.
Do you have anything to say to any of our listeners out there, apart from, of course, come for a haircut?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the standard, but I mean, what we set out to do is, give the best we possibly can in every which way. So we've achieved that today by getting these 2 awards, and hopefully it continues.
And the lady you heard conducting that interview with the Alternative Barbering Company was one of our Radio Verulam colleagues, Ellie O'Fira. Ellie runs a show called Out and About, and her Twitter handle, and she tweets a lot, is @RV Out and About. Ellie is with us here. Hi, Ellie. How was it last year, and what exactly are you looking forward to this evening?
It was absolutely wonderful, Betty. Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh, how could we do it without you?
I will be running around the floor this evening, your resident Annika Rice, chatting to all the people and getting the latest from how they're feeling down there on the floor. I'm really excited. It promises to be a great evening.
Well, we couldn't get a helicopter in, but it's Challenge Annika all evening. And
we
expect to see you running around like a mad thing, getting all of the fabulous award winners, and we'll catch up later. Also joining us, but for the first time at the Retailer of the Year Awards, is another Radio Verulam colleague, Richard Edwards, who's going to be running a radio show, a morning show with us on Radio Verulam.
I'll try and run a morning show, as the case may be. But
So good evening, Richard.
Hello, good evening.
I understand you're going to have a fine spot near the bar this evening.
Indeed.
Is that right?
Yes, I'm a first-timer as well, and I think I've got the prime spot, actually. I know Ellie's going to be sort of dashing around the tables
very fair at all.
sampling all the food, all that kind of stuff, and
definitely not.
chatting everybody up. But I'm going to be lurking, and I'm very good at lurking, by the way, lurking by the bar as people sort of come in and pop out and get a drink at half-time, and maybe even as they leave as well. So,
what do you think is going to be better, catching them before they've hit the bar or after?
Probably in the interval, I would think, in the middle. It's probably the best.
They're relaxed but still lucid.
The best time to get them. But I mean, thank you very much indeed for inviting me here this evening, and it's a pleasure being on Radio Verulam. I've just moved off the lunchtime show, started my first morning show last week, and we're back on bright and early tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So I'll be dashing home, getting a little bit of beauty sleep, or quite a lot of beauty sleep as I need to, and back on the air tomorrow.
Fantastically, hopefully sharing with your listeners all our winners.
I will definitely have some feedback, and we'll talk about tonight on the programme tomorrow without a shadow of a doubt. But forgetting all that, really looking forward to this evening. I can see the atmosphere is building already. The hall looks fabulous. The stage looks absolutely great. So it's going to be a great evening. Can't wait.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to have to let Ellie and Richard take up their various positions in the auditorium and in the bar area. So thanks ever so much, guys. Enjoy the evening. We'll be talking to you both later with lots of the winners and lots of the finalists. But the awards are now in their 7th year. What was the thinking behind them? I spoke to one of the original organisers, Councillor Roma Mills, and asked
I think
her.
It was at a time when there was a lot of bad press about shops being empty in the city centre, and I wrote to the review and said, well, perhaps we should do something positive, make people feel good about the city centre. And so I met with Martin Buhagia, who was the review editor at the time, and with Marion Hammond from the Civic Society to see if there would be support for starting this sort of event. And there was support for it, but we didn't feel we could do it in that year because it was just too close, and so we started the following year. So the Civic Society, the St Albans Review, and myself as a local councillor were in it from the very start.
And how do you go about deciding who has won?
Well, we have mystery shoppers, volunteer mystery shoppers, so they will go round and they will feed back to us, and so we have a look at what we get, and out of that, each of us in our own category, and ideally on specialist shops, we then shortlist down to 5, and then we have a look at those ourselves.
Do you have a set criteria that you're measuring against and adding numbers to get up a wall?
That's right. We developed a template at the beginning of the competition so that it would be fair, and so you would look at different aspects of service or materials or attitude. So there's a range of things that people look at. Nothing that would amaze a shopkeeper, I'm sure, the sort of things people would think of for themselves, but it gives our mystery shoppers then a guide. It gives them an indication.
You obviously know St Albans terribly well, but did you find yourself finding little gems that you didn't know existed?
Yes, I think we have. That's why we introduced the Star Award, actually, because there are some little gems that perhaps won't win a category, but do something very special. So we have that star to try and really good profile to those people who are doing something a little bit special. They may not win a category, but they're doing something a little bit special, and we want to recognise it.
And that was Councillor Roma Mills. No pun intended. Roma introduces Roma Mills. I'm now joined by another councillor, actually, Councillor Beric Reid. Good evening, Beric. I understand you're presenting one of the awards as well later.
I am indeed. The Festive Pub Award. I get all the easy jobs.
Is that why you came upstairs with a glass of wine that you forgot to buy me?
I'm sorry, I'm in trouble now before I started.
Bad, Beric. So, maybe you could tell us a little bit about the number of nominations you've received this year. It looks as though it's up on last year, I understand.
It is. It's up, I think, about 10%, I think, nearly on last year, which is really good.
Right.
Now, that's actually the number of places that are nominated. I think we had nearly 130, I think. But there's a lot of nominations per place as well. So, some places might get 50 nominations for one thing, but another place may just get a few. So, yes, there was a lot of nominations this year. It was increasing. It was really good.
Do you know roughly how many nominations per category?
I don't know that off the top of my head now, sorry.
Just a lot.
Yes. So, but it's been good. Yeah.
And how do you think the awards benefit the traders in St Albans and St Albans itself, actually?
I think the first and almost the most important thing is the community, and getting the traders actually together and involved with, because otherwise everyone's kind of you can be a little bit blinkered your own business rather than looking at the bigger scene. So these sorts of events are really good to get the community together, working together and talking together, and that's almost, you don't think about it so much, but it's almost the most powerful thing, really. And then on top of that, it's just getting the publicity out, finding the earlier when she was talking about the little gems, finding those little places that as a shopper you get stuck in your ways, and you take the same street, you take the same routes, and sometimes you don't know what's changed just around the corner and things. So it's really good for those sorts of things.
One of the things that's been commented on a number of times is that during the recession, which we seem to be moving out of, St Albans was one of the cities that didn't suffer too badly. How much of that community spirit do you think is part of that?
I think, we're lucky in that most of the residents of Norwich are in a position where they can support local shops and local produce, things like that. So we are lucky to that extent. I think because sort of a fairly high proportion work in the city and in London, I think we kind of got hit by the recession very early and then recovered earlier than everyone else on a sort of macro level. But the community spirit has always been fairly strong in St Albans, and it's good just to do events that really build on it, really.
Absolutely. And so, speaking of benefits, actually, I understand that you've yet another initiative set to benefit St Albans. So tell us about the City Centre partnership, Beric.
Yes, well, this has grown out of the Retail Forum, which is basically the opportunity for all the retailers to meet regularly and talk about sort of issues and projects and things like that, and talk about visitor attraction, tourism. So the City Centre Partnership have got together, and they're all dipping into their own pockets, and the council is supporting as well to an extent, and they're looking at employing a city centre manager and putting events on and that sort of thing. So it's, from my point of view, it's things we really want the business community doing the business and working together, and with those that are going to benefit are the ones actually doing some of the work and coming up with the ideas and putting some of the money in as well. So it's really good from that point of view, because we've actually got the business people leading on the business front now rather than the council doing it, which is a little bit odd, really.
I mean, it's an obvious thing to do, but quite a significant move, because previously it's tended to be the council driving these sorts of initiatives, isn't it?
Yes, and I mean, in my view, it should have been done 10 years ago or so. So we're really just trying to push that through, but it has to be them. I can't push it. It has to be the people actually involved wanting to do it, and so that's what's really good.
So groundbreaking stuff.
It is indeed.
I assume these people will be on the committee for a period of time, or how will it work?
Yes, well, it's within at the moment. It's from the Retail Forum. They've kind of sort of elected us. So there's a board that are put together and with directors of that city, and it's a community interest company. It's one of the new government initiatives.
So how did you get people excited by that initiative in the first instance?
I didn't have to. I just put it out there. These are the sorts of things, because I run my own business, and these are the sorts of things. This is where I'm coming from, and that it should be you guys, and it's them that got excited and them wanting to do it. I just gave them the opportunity to do it.
That must be terribly satisfying, getting natural enthusiasm from businessmen.
It is, yes.
Excellent.
Brilliant. Well, Beric, it's been very interesting chatting to you. I'm sure we'll hear from you again during the evening. We've got a long evening ahead of us, but it's very exciting. Let's have some feedback from some of the shortlisted traders. How do they feel about the awards? Vicky was in St Albans on Friday and spotted a few of the posters given to the finalists put in their windows and decided to go in for a chat. She spoke firstly to Anna from the West Cornwall Pasty Company, who is nominated in the food and drink category, and afterwards to Alex of Glad Rags, a previous winner and a finalist tonight in the fashion and accessories category.
You've been nominated and are a finalist in the Retailer of the Year Awards under the food and drink category in the cafes. Are you pleased to be nominated as a finalist?
Yes, I'm very pleased about that, because when I used to work in my old company, we always tried every single year to be nominated for Retailer of the Year, but we never got to top 5. So now, when I saw we are in top 5, I was very pleased about that. So it's for me a big achievement.
What do you think's got you into the top 5?
To be honest, I think it's hard work and customer service, because I'm trying to always put my girls to good customer service, advise people when they come here, and I think that's pleased them.
So customer service, looking after people, and serving great pasties, of course.
Yes.
Of course. Can I ask you which your previous company was?
Costa Coffee.
Costa, right, okay. And will you be there on Monday night to collect your award, hopefully?
Yes, we will. And I'm really hoping we're going to win it, because it's just going to be amazing for me.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Have you been manageress here for very long?
I've been manager in here since last September.
Okay, so you've had a good sort of 8 months or so to knock it into shape. Well,
yes.
Congratulations on having been nominated.
Thank you very much.
Top 5 position's great. If you were to win the award, what do you think you'd do with it? How would you use it in your marketing?
First of all, I'm gonna be put big poster on our window. I mean, to be honest, for us, it's going to be really good if we're going to win that, because it's going to bring more business into which we're struggling at the moment because, it's hot or it's very raining and stuff like that. So hopefully if St. Albans is going to bring more activities in the town, if they see we actually won the award, it's going to bring more customers in the shop, which is my main focus on. If we're going to win it, I'm just going to, bring for customers. Look, we got great pasties, we got great customer service. We won it, so you don't have to be scared to pay for it.
Well, thank you ever so much for giving me a few minutes. We look forward to seeing you on Monday night, and lots of luck.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Alex, congratulations for having been made a finalist, top 5 in the fashion category.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank
Were
you
you surprised by the nomination?
We're always pleasantly surprised, although we have luckily been finalists probably, I don't know if it's 4th or 5th time.
Have you ever been a winner?
We have. Yes,
fantastic.
I think it was 2011. Yeah.
So is this going to be another lucky year for you, do you think?
Who knows? Who knows? There's so many fantastic shops in St Albans, and there's always some newcomers coming up, and I think it's lovely because it all raises the game for everybody else in St Albans to
that's
get
absolutely right.
best customer service. And
do you think that's it? Do you think it's about customer service?
I think it's where you can win these days, or where you can make the difference, because there's lots of shops offering similar sort of products. We're all out there, we're all in the same market, and I think the way that you can make a difference to your store is by actually offering something different in terms of the experience when somebody walks through your door, and that even if they don't find what they want, they go away having had a lovely time and thinking that I'd love to come back there. So,
yeah, that's it, isn't it? Coming back to the next time.
Exactly.
Or sort of thinking of you first rather than somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Just thinking that, it's nice to just go in there, browse, it was relaxed, I can have a cup of tea, have a chat, and knowing that there's no pressure, and it's just a lovely place to come, and that's really what we base ourselves, and that's really what we're known for.
I saw the poster on the window announcing that you were a finalist in the Retailer of the Year Awards. If you were to win, how would you use the award in your marketing?
I think initially, obviously, it would go on our website. We would make quite a big on our Facebook page and Twitter, and also probably have some little do for our customers, because whenever we are in any of these sort of awards, it's always fantastic for our customers to see. They're always so proud, because it's a measure of the support that they give us to the fact that we're here in the first place. So when they see our name, glad Rags won. So we'll probably do something, for our regulars as a thank you. But obviously it will be there on our website and on our Facebook page to promote it.
So do you think it sounds like you really will use the award well to drive customer, to encourage loyalty, all those things that make awards worth the bother, really?
And also just really creating awareness, because, in certain areas in St Albans like we are, lots of us independents, we're a little bit tucked away because we can't compete on the high street with the big boys. So all it does is make people go, well, where are they then? And why haven't I heard about those? So, yeah, it's a fantastic thing. We love the Retailer of the Year because it also gives us the opportunity for all the retailers to come together, and over time you get to know faces and you're like, oh yeah, here again. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant for the retailers, and it's great for the customers, and it's great for St Albans because it actually shows the mix of retailers, restaurants, cafes that are out there, and make it for everybody a town really worth visiting.
But I can't say anything more than that. That's a fantastic way to end. Well, good luck on Monday night.
Thank you so
come
much.
and see us, and hopefully we'll see you up on the stage.
Well, let's hope so. Fingers crossed. Thank you for coming to see us.
Well, very interesting information from 2 of our finalists in the food and drink category and fashion and accessories. So that was Glad Rags for fashion and accessories, and in food and drink we had the West Cornwall Pasty Company. And now I'm very delighted to be able to introduce some more guests. First of all, from sponsors of the business show, Silvia Vitiello. Silvia is an experienced general practice partner whose clients include owner-managed entrepreneurial businesses and UK subsidiaries of foreign-owned companies. She's a partner at Kingston Smith, our proud new sponsors, as I say, of the business show. First of all, welcome, Silvia.
Oh, thank you. I'm very pleased to be here.
And lovely to have you. Next, we have Alison Bainbridge. Alison has over 20 years of retail experience, firstly at the Arcadia Group, and then as founder and managing director of ABA, where her clarity of vision and commercial savvy have seen her win the trust of those at the top of the retail sector. Alison, welcome to you.
Good evening, thank you.
And finally, Julian Smith. Julian is a business advisor and has nearly 2 decades of experience advising companies across the areas of strategy, finance and mergers and acquisitions, having worked with many of the leading companies in the UK, and I'm sure we'll be hearing even more. Welcome, Julian.
Good evening. Very good to be back here again this year.
Excellent. So, as ever, we have a very prestigious panel. And one of the services that Alison provides is mystery shopping. So, it was interesting that as part of the research into who should win in each of the categories, or rather who should be listed as finalists in each of the categories, one of the ways in which to measure was mystery shopping. Can you tell us more, Alison, about why it's such a good way to evaluate service?
Yeah, it is a good way to evaluate service, and most of the big retailers use it in some form or another. And it's a good opportunity to kind of write a list of everything you hope a customer is going to encounter when they come to your store. And then the mystery shopper goes in and you're able to see for sure whether those things happen. Overall, though, it's losing some popularity as a way of judging customer experience, and actually quite a lot of companies are turning to ask the opinion of real shoppers rather than a mystery shopper, and maybe inviting many more people to give their views on a particular store experience rather than just rely on one person visiting in one point in time.
And what's a typical way to do that?
Well, you see often nowadays, after you've made a transaction, someone might give you a till receipt that has actually got a web address that you can go to and give your opinions, and that way some brands might get literally hundreds of thousands, maybe 500,000 customers giving their views on their experiences in a store over a year, whereas with mystery shopping it tends to be hundreds of mystery shopping visits over a year. So with hundreds of thousands of people giving their opinion, they get a more rounded view of what's going on.
Is there some degree of self-selection, though? If you're a shopper, you're in the store, there must be some degree of you wanting to be in the store to buy something. So therefore, is there going to be some bias in the responses?
Yeah, I think there is some bias. And when it's an invite, at, say, at a till like that, what you tend to get is people who are very pleased or very unhappy with what has happened. But that's kind of a constant over time. So you still get reliable results as a result of that.
And in the UK, we tend to be very good at complaining, and not very good at complaining actually, but very poor at actually saying things are really, really good. But when asked if something has gone wrong, we're quite happy to mention that. So that in itself can give a sort of biased position if people are asked.
It can, and I think that's why those sorts of surveys are really useful, because I think we are really slow to celebrate success, and there is so much to be learnt from delight experiences and people realising what it is they have to do to make someone really happy with a customer experience. So just reinforcing that and hearing time and time again, that was great because you really helped me find that, or really found a solution. And so you're right, it's very easy to dwell on the negatives.
Do you think larger stores are better at it than the smaller retailer?
Better at measuring service?
Yeah.
In some ways, no, because I think if you're a small retailer, you can see it, you're in the store, you can feel it, you can feel good service. It's literally in the air for people to kind of experience as soon as they walk through the door. So, no, I think big companies kind of lose touch with that and find it much harder to measure. I bet all of the retailers tonight know for certain the standards they're delivering in St Albans day in, day out.
What about social media and the influence of social media on things like reputation and feedback?
Yeah, it does play a part at the extremes, but I think all the evidence is perhaps it has less impact on just normal brands every day than maybe people think it does. It does for those sort of hothouse brands, really talked about brands, leading edge brands, yes, it's really, really important, but for just a mainstream brand, perhaps not so much.
And is it something that retailers can teach staff, or is it something that's sort of almost inherent when you're recruiting?
I think that's a really good point, and I think in some ways service as a culture is inside people, and they either want to do it or have that in them. And what happens if you don't have it becomes a process, and then it just feels like you're being served by a computer, and I think that's what the internet's for, and real store service is about personal kind of interchange. So you can teach it to an extent, but it's much better if you've got a natural aptitude for it.
Brilliant. Well, interesting stuff. And in fact, I'm sure we could chat more about it, and we will be. So that's fantastic. I actually want to start thinking more also, taking that a step further and looking at the whole concept of events. Because another way in which people like to, or companies like to engage with their customers is by holding events of one sort or another. And Silvia, you recently wrote a blog post about the benefits of using events for business success. And we can actually give our listeners the blog post link. But maybe you'd like to tell us a bit more about Midas Touch.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Midas Touch is quite an exciting website that Kingston Smith supports. It's all about talking to entrepreneurs, it's about talking to businesses, about not just their strictly financial area, that obviously as accountants that's something that is very central to us and central obviously to our clients. But Midas Touch is about the extra bits that go around that. So the things that businesses do that make them truly successful. It's about sharing best practice and giving entrepreneurs, for whom sometimes it's quite a lonely place running your own business. This is a network that you can go on online. There are events that you can go to if you want to go out to networking. But it's all about presenting for the entrepreneur lots of solutions. Sometimes it's about presenting lots of questions, and we see the questions then coming back from different people about their experiences. So we're really excited about Midas Touch.
So do your Midas Touch members, or do you call them members first of all?
Well, they are members. You can visit the website and just have a look around and see whether you like it. You can join. It's free to join. And then you can interact. You can come to events. You can post your own blogs. You can answer questions that are on there. Mm-hmm. You can pose some questions.
So do they drive the nature of the event, the content of the event?
Yes and no. So yes, from the people that visit it, absolutely, because it creates the chatter, it creates the input. But also we use... I particularly, when I write my blogs, I use the events, the experiences that I've had with my clients. So it isn't very difficult to write it, because I think about what have I talked to my clients about, what have they questioned me over in the last week, and I can bring those out. And very often there are trends that come through.
It's interesting what you're saying, because Beric mentioned earlier that one of the things that he really likes about the Retailer of the Year Awards is the fact that it brings all the retailers together, whether they're competitors or not. And it sounds very much like the Midas Touch is an opportunity to do a similar sort of thing, bring lots of local businesses together to discuss issues, to discuss problems, but also to share the great stuff too.
Absolutely. It's really fundamental to successful businesses. We did do an academic report on what made a business successful, rather than what causes businesses to fail. It was about what are the commonalities of success. And a lot of those truly successful, not just successful, but truly successful businesses were run by people who shared knowledge. So they were very happy to talk about their mistakes as well as their successes, and to understand and learn from those very quickly so that they could react to it and create successful businesses. And that's exactly what these networks, that's what events are about, it's what awards are about. It's all about celebrating success for awards, but also about learning from experiences from your fellow entrepreneurs.
So, I mean, we are here at an award ceremony, and you've just mentioned the importance of awards. What are the sort of awards that are perhaps most important to the small business community? I mean, clearly we would argue the one here in St Albans, the Retailer of the Year.
It's really important, whichever award you go into. So whether it's from a particular sector that you would go into, or your locale, your geography, or the size of business that you're in. I think there's three main areas that you have that are really important. It's the gearing up for the award. So it makes you think about your particular entity, your company, your business, your sector. The second part of it is the actual award. So it is the celebratory sort of event. It makes you bring together your team. It makes you actually look at what you're doing, and it gives you an opportunity to celebrate their successes. And then finally, the very obvious one is if you actually win it, or if you are a runner-up or whatever, you're a finalist. It gives you something to pin your sort of activities to. You can demonstrate that you were successful and that it worked very well. So I think awards and events like this are really important for key celebratory events to mark your success, and it gives you an opportunity to put your head up sometimes, and rather than working in the business, actually working sort of up from a helicopter view and seeing where you're going.
We're on the topic of small businesses. Vicky's going to be chatting to Julian just now to talk a little bit more about it from the perspective of business advisor.
So, Julian, thanks ever so much for coming back and joining us again this year. You have a lot of experience in getting funding for businesses. So, tell us all about that side of the business development area. And should some of these funds be being used to enter awards and to develop events, for example?
Well, yeah, I think first of all that when it comes to looking at the funding landscape for smaller businesses, it's very different now post the financial crisis in 2008, and what we haven't really seen is that the banks have particularly come back into the market despite the government incentives to do so. What we have seen, however, is a significant increase in alternative sources of funding for smaller companies, and in particular the use of the crowd through the development of peer-to-peer platforms, and small businesses which have been going for 2 years or more, which have some sort of established franchise themselves, are able to access funding from individuals who can do this. They can choose, they can put some of their own portfolio to work, earning a better return than they would get if they put money into a bank, and also support a local business which they can see, they can identify with. So we've seen a number of these platforms grow very, very rapidly over the last 2 years, and we've actually seen government money also come in on the back of that to help those businesses. In terms of what they should use that capital for, I think first and foremost they need to look after the health and wealth of their own company in terms of helping it to grow. And what we are seeing now, based on the statistics that are coming through, is that the retail environment sales are growing. So it is a much more healthy picture than it was a year ago when we were last discussing here. And so the question for me is how are these smaller businesses going to manage that growth when they think about investing either in more people or perhaps a bigger facility, bigger premises, just making sure that they do that in step, in proportion to the sales opportunity.
We'll come back to you, Julian. Thanks ever so much for those comments. Really interesting stuff and quite a lot to talk about when we come back after this break.
The Business, sponsored by Kingston Smith Chartered Accountants. At Kingston Smith, our ethos is simple. We want our clients to succeed. Welcoming owner-managed businesses and individuals, we pride ourselves on offering the local business community a range of services that best supports their needs for maximum growth. Kingston Smith, helping our clients succeed. Find us on St Peter's Street in the heart of St Albans, or for more information, head to kingstonsmith.co.uk. You're listening to The Business on Radio Verulam, live from the Alban Arena.
And I'm Victoria Scott, and I'm here with Julian Smith, and we've just been talking about financing for small businesses and what they should then use the money for. But what's quite interesting, and I'd like to just come back to something that Silvia said, which is that a lot of these companies. They might be getting into a little bit of growth spurt. They might be getting into a little bit of a muddle as well. And one of the things that I've been seeing with some of the research that I've done with my companies is that these entrepreneurs that can recognise that they've got faults, or that they need some help, that Silvia was talking about, are actually prepared to give some equity in the business, possibly to a funder, if they also get some support and help in some of the areas that they're looking to develop into. Is that something you've come across?
Yes, absolutely. I think the benefits that flow from being able to access or give up some of your equity is that you find people who are prepared to not only give you financial support but also other support, whether it be in terms of their network, in terms of their area of expertise. It's a trend that is growing, I believe, and I think it's something that companies ought to take advantage of, not just sitting in a silo, struggling with the problems on their own, but actually trying to sort of reach out and tap into some networks, and I think it's part of a trend of collaboration which we're seeing across a number of different areas at the moment.
Julian, do you think funding's always the answer there? I've worked in business support. I do research academically in business at the moment on fast-growing businesses, and one of the things that sometimes smaller businesses particularly fall into the trap of is assuming that funding is the answer to any difficulties they're experiencing. How do you get them over that sort of mental hurdle?
I think funding is one part of the answer, but certainly is not a complete solution. You need to think about all aspects of the business in terms of the addressable market, in terms of what the company's strategy is and how they execute on that. Also in terms of management, I think that these smaller businesses, perhaps that the people haven't been in positions where they've had to manage large people before, and so if you can think about how to incentivize and motivate a team and to get them to buy into the essence of the business of the retailer in this particular case, then you've got people moving forwards with a very common identity, and that's quite important.
It's very important, that sort of stuff. And we've got a very, very good example of a fantastic business that's been growing and growing and growing in St Albans. It's the dressing room, and I believe that Ellie is downstairs with the dressing room.
Hello guys, I don't quite know if you can hear me, it's a little bit crackly, but I am down here in the foyer of the Alban Arena with none other than the queen of fashion in St Albans, Miss Deryane Tadd from the dressing room. Deryane, welcome to Radio Verulam.
Hi, thank you.
You're nominated for an award this evening.
We are indeed, yes.
Familiar ground for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, which is always good.
And how does it feel to be nominated for a local award?
Oh, fantastic. I think it's brilliant to promote independent retailers in St Albans, so it's what I'm all about, really, so it's fantastic.
And the retail community doesn't get an opportunity to get together very often, so how does it feel about being together all together?
Yeah, really nice. Again, nice to kind of meet other retailers and see them. Last time we saw them was at the fashion show, so really good to see them again.
Fantastic. Well, we wish you all the very best of luck. Thanks very much. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ellie. That was great, and as ever, always great to hear from good old Deryane. Glad to hear that they are, as ever, featuring here tonight. Alison, you... sorry, jumping on you there. In terms of some of the categories, we had Deryane Tadd, who is, of course, a previous winner of one of the categories, the fashion and accessories category in the past. And as Ellie said, a very prominent company within the community, growing all the time and, battling against the singer at the moment. And they use social media quite substantially when it comes to promoting themselves.
They do. I mean, they are a brilliant retailer in every way. They know exactly what they're about. They keep to that essence in absolutely everything that they do. They've got, I believe, probably a very loyal, close customer base, and they reach out to them through social media. So, yeah, they do it really, really well.
Kingston Smith, sorry, to bring Alison back in, we've got a little bit of a problem going on with the glittery singer who's got the most sparkly jacket on I think I've ever seen. But we're going to struggle along as we always do on Radio Verulam. So back to Alison. Alison,
Silvia.
Sorry, Silvia. We'll get there in the end. We always do. Back to Silvia. So, Kingston Smith, what do you do as a company in St Albans to actually get your name out and about? I mean, you're not a retailer, you're a service provider, but is it that different?
It is and it isn't. I think, as retailers, it's very simple simple, I say, relatively simple to be able to point to a product and to say, this is what we do, this is how we do it. For services, it's more of a personal thing because we'll be providing accounting, tax, advisory services for individual companies or individuals themselves. The way that we approach it is to look at our network to make sure that people know about us so that when they come to need that service, they can come for it because obviously I've lost my backing.
Your backing singers have gone for a moment, hopefully.
So we try to support a variety of networking events. So, for example, we have the St Albans Business Women's group, which is all about getting business women together in a very comfortable, non-threatening environment so that they can talk about their experiences, bringing in guest speakers to talk about their businesses, experiences, or perhaps some of the things that they do in their spare time, so charitable works and that sort of thing. A truly networking club. And that's about trying to get people to know who we are rather than just what we do, because as I said before, it's the sort of personal work that we do. We're looking after people's financial affairs, and that's very important to them.
And it's interesting that you're talking about separate women's networks. Alison, do you think retailing to men is very different to retailing to women?
As customers, or running them as a man or as a woman?
Both. Let's talk about both.
Well, men do shop in very different ways. And I've worked in retail all my life, and there's plenty of women right at the top of retail, and I don't get that feeling maybe so much in other sectors. So it's definitely female friendly.
That's good to know. Good to know. Now we haven't. Can we see if we can get the mic over to Julian to see what his, as a man on the panel. Julian, can you tell us, as a man on the panel, how do you get involved in retail and shopping, and how do you shop? Let's take it as simple as that.
Okay, acutely aware of the possible bear traps that I'm about to step into, but I'll give it a go anyway. I have to say, I probably now am one of those people who do the majority of my shopping online. And so when I go into towns or go out in that sort of environment, it tends to be more leisure-led. So I will probably go have some food with my family, and maybe on the back of that we'll end up sort of walking around the area and seeing if there are interesting shops at that point. Then I might go into them and maybe pick up something or other. But most of my planned shopping would be for choice done over the internet these days.
Oh, really? Well, we certainly know from data that the retail trends are going that way. But equally, what we are finding is that you've got to do everything these days. You've got to do social networking, you've got to have presence on the high street, and you've also got to have presence online.
Well, I'm interested by the fact that Julian likes to shop online. But Julian, do you enjoy records, in particular vinyl records?
I do. I'm a big fan of music.
So possibly you've shopped at Empire Records in St Albans?
I have been in there, yes. Absolutely.
Well, at the moment we have Richard, who is in the foyer at the moment, and he actually has Derek Watson from Empire Records live on the mic. Derek. Hello, Derek. He'll hear us in a moment. Derek, can you hear me? I mean, Richard, sorry. Richard, can you hear me? Hello, Richard. Hello, Richard. Sorry, we're having a little technical difficulty there, but I'm sure Richard will be back shortly, and it helps if I know that Richard's the presenter and Derek is the guest. Sorry, you haven't shopped at the Empire Records, so you're a keen fan of vinyls as well, Julian. But interestingly, you said you like to shop online. Is that because you just don't enjoy the whole browsing experience?
No, I don't mind browsing when I'm out there. If there's things I need to buy, then I'll try to do that online. But if I want to go out into town, and I think St Albans is a fantastic destination. I live a few miles away, but I do come in here because I think it does benefit, unlike many, if you like, towns in the sort of the general area, from having more independence, and that's one of the great attractions. So I think I do, and I have, when I come here, the probabilities are that I will end up buying something that I hadn't intended to buy before I went out. So that's one of the benefits of having a place like this.
And that's also one of the benefits of having a shop window, that actually quite a lot of online shopping is all about going and getting what you want. Now, as a girly, and I'm falling into that trap here, but I'm never sure what it is that I want, which is why I like browsing, and I like browsing around shops and seeing the stuff. And that's why, let's hope the high street will always have a place. And it's interesting to note that some of the big online brands are starting to have retail presence. Like, I don't know whether you know what's going on, Alison, with eBay, but they're now actually using Argos, as I understand it, to distribute as a distribution opportunity. So that's quite interesting to have the big online brands starting to actually use the high street too.
Actually, can I be terribly rude and interrupt briefly? We actually do now have Richard in the foyer with Derek Watson of Empire Records. Richard.
Yes, thank you much indeed. We are in the foyer this evening. The atmosphere is really building down here tonight. All the guests are more or less arrived now. And as you said, I've got Derek from Empire Records. Good evening, Derek.
Hi, Richard. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And yourself?
Absolutely. It's very exciting to be here.
Brilliant to see you here this evening. Now, I'd like to first of all just ask you to describe your attire to me, because it's somewhat retro.
Well, I'm a little bit retro. We sell vinyl, so I guess that's about as retro as you can get. But yeah, it's nice to be able to dress up occasionally.
It's very nice. Now, obviously, vinyl making a massive comeback at the moment, isn't it? Why do you think that is?
I think we gave up tangible things too quickly as a society, and I think we're going back to wanting things that we can hold and admire rather than tuck everything away and be as minimal as possible. And of course, vinyl sounds better than anything else.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, are you in competition with any other vinyl record shops within the locality, or do you have it pretty much exclusive here in St Albans at the moment?
I think in St Albans, Oxfam Bookshops sell vinyl, but, the more the merrier, in actual fact. I've always been a firm believer that the more businesses are out there selling the same things, the better, especially in specialist markets.
Now, you're in the category tonight for specialist shops. Is this your first appearance at the Retailer of the Year Awards?
Absolutely. I mean, we've only been trading for just over 1 year now, so it's fantastic that we even got nominated this time round.
And how do you think the atmosphere is building in the foyer this evening?
You can feel the excitement, can't you? It's I thought it would be, okay, but I'm getting really excited now.
That's brilliant. And hopefully you obviously hope to network with other retailers this evening and make some contacts?
Absolutely. I mean, I love this city, so anything that we can do to contribute to it is a plus.
That's brilliant. Lovely. That's Derek then from Empire Records. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Richard. So, yes, Derek Watson, one of our finalists from Empire Records. So, sorry, and back to you, Alison.
Yeah, we were talking about the Argos eBay
right.
collaboration, weren't we? Yeah, I think that's all part of the kind of click and collect thing that has been so massive over the last year, and that's really one of the things that's made the internet really take off again. So, it's interesting.
And Silvia, is there a room on the internet for finance and accounting on the by web or parallel?
Absolutely, and it's going ahead. Oh, absolutely, and it's going ahead at the moment. It's very much a global market for accountants and advisors, and it has been for some time. And I think that any business that considers that it isn't in a global market is really missing the point, rather. There's a lot that we can do. We export a huge amount of our knowledge and our know-how across the world as a UK PLC, if you like. It's one of the things that we're known for. It's the added value, and certainly the financial sector is one of the areas that's a great growth area.
There's certainly a lot in terms of initiatives to support small businesses thinking about global trade, as you say. I know that we've had as guests UK Trade and Investment on our programme. I know there are a number of initiatives, particularly with China. Are you hooked into the funds that surround those initiatives as well?
Absolutely. We work a lot with our clients to help them access those funds, and also the know-how and the connections overseas. We work particularly, we have an India desk, and we have offices over in the US and across Europe. It's really important that we're able to give those connections. So it's more than just funding, and that was one of the sort of themes I think that you were talking about before. It isn't always just the money that you can throw at a problem. It's about having those connections and understanding how business is done abroad, because it is different. There are some connections that are similar, but there is a great difference, and it is about understanding the network that's abroad.
And, well, let me just remind the listeners that we're here in St Albans Arena at the Retailer of the Year Awards. It's 7:45, and the actual awards themselves are going to be starting at about 8 o'clock. But in the meantime, Roma Bomic and me, Victoria Scott, are with Alison Bainbridge of ABA Research, Silvia Vitiello of Kingston Smith, and Julian Smith, who is fundingexpert.com. So we've been talking this evening about the awards, we've been talking about business, we've been talking about funding. But what about the event this evening? Have we got any ideas of who we think are going to win? We're all shoppers in St Albans. We all, even our online shopper here has been into the local record shop. So have you got any favourites in the lists at all? Have you got any favourites that aren't on the list? Maybe that's an easier question. Silvia, you look as though you've got some.
We were talking about this before we actually came on, and I think all of us agreed that L'Italiana was one of the restaurants that we all enjoy, and it's always very full and very packed. So certainly one of our favourites, I think.
Alison, yours? Oh, you've got no microphone. I'm sorry about that.
Well,
we're just swapping a microphone, and then we've got to go down to Ellie, who's in the reception area shortly.
I mean, for me, last year's winner may prove hard to beat again. They seem to have gone from strength to strength all year and grown and expanded into the basement area as well. So, yeah, I think they could prove hard winners.
Well, all these prestigious guests here tonight and so much commentary. We actually also now have Ellie, who's in the foyer, with Geoff Harrison, who's been our newly appointed mayor.
Here we go.
Ellie, to you.
Thank you so much, Roma. I feel very lucky. I'm with the new mayor, the Right Worshipful Lord Mayor of St Albans and District, Geoff Harrison. Geoff, well done. Welcome to Radio Verulam.
How do you do? Thank you very much indeed for asking me to speak to you.
Well, we're very excited to have you. Firstly, how does it feel to be the Mayor of St Albans?
Daunting. It's a tremendous honour and privilege. I'm the 470th Mayor of the City and District.
Don't look a day over 21, sir. A day.
Yep.
So how does it feel for you this evening when the retail community has come together to celebrate its excellence? We're just going to step outside because it's very, very loud. So I'm just going to step out here with the Mayor. That's better. I can hear you much better. Not that we don't love the band, it's just quite hard to listen. So how does it feel to be here with the retail community this evening?
Well, the retail community is the heart and soul of the city, whether it be dress shops, hairdressers, restaurants, pubs, whatever. We have a tremendous selection of retail outlets within the town, the city, sorry. We're very, very lucky. A complete range of restaurants. You can eat every night of the week, many, many times, not go to the same one. It's very good indeed.
We are really very lucky indeed. Do you have any sneaky winners this evening, sir? Not that you're allowed to have favourites, but do you have any sneaky favourites?
I have a few favourites that are there. I'm not going to say a word at this point.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Very big trouble if I do.
Well, thank you very much indeed. From everybody at Radio Verulam, we wish you a wonderful year.
Thank you very much indeed.
Back to you guys.
Bye.
Ellie, so with Geoff Harrison, our newly appointed mayor. So before we cut across to Ellie, Julian, you didn't get a chance to tell us if you have any favourites tonight.
No, I didn't, and I'm drawn again to the market trader category. I think it's a very interesting space, and I'm a big fan. I think I said this possibly last year of cheese, and I love discovering new cheeses. So for me, I'm going to go again for the Cheesewheeler, who I think is shortlisted again this year, because that's exactly what I do enjoy shopping for, is discovering new cheeses.
Now, let's be really candid. Cheeses surely are cheeses. So what makes them so good at what they do?
Well, I think it's it's a combination of discovering new things that you haven't really come across before. If you go to the supermarket, you see the same sort of cheeses time in, time out. So if you pick something up from there, you can discover something new, which I like.
Alison?
My winner for tonight. The Alternative Barbers, I think, still deserve to be the winners.
I don't see you as someone who would visit the barbers,
No,
actually.
I've got two young boys who... I've got two boys who seem to spend a lot of their life in there, and it seems to be the only shop in St Albans that demands a 2-hour queue for a haircut, so they do something absolutely right. Yeah.
What do they do so well then that makes it great for your boys to go there?
You know what, I think they treat 15, 16, 17-year-old boys as though they're adults, and they listen to them and they make them feel like their hair looks great and just take the time, really. They don't feel rushed. It's all an experience, and I think they do a really good job.
It's interesting, actually, isn't it? And I don't know if you'd like to comment on this as well, Julian. One thing that we hear time and time again from any of the companies that we've interviewed, or the owners of the companies, is the importance of making customers feel special, about the fact that they tailor their services. You know, I don't know, Julian, do you want to comment in addition to Alison's comments?
Yeah, I'll. If I could just come in on that, I think for me it's critical, and it's one thing that the smaller retailers can do much better than a larger one, because I think, as Alison was saying earlier on, you're much closer to your customer in that environment. I think it's something where, you know, the new technology, social media, enables retailers to develop a relationship and to nurture that relationship over time with the customer. And it's something that if you just treat a customer as somebody you see every 2 weeks in the store, it's not quite the same as developing a relationship over time, getting to know them better, getting that feedback, and then just think about how you continue to manage your business and make it better, ever better for the customer. It's crucial.
Lots of fantastic stuff here. We've got another slot now. Ellie is with Little Viking. She's with Manna from Little Viking, who has been shortlisted in the fashion and accessories category.
I can hear you, I'm here. I'm with one of the most beautiful guests this evening, Maria from Little Viking. Maria, welcome to Radio Verulam.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the compliments.
You've only been up and running less than a year, already nominated. How does that feel?
Amazing. is absolutely amazing. I can't believe it.
So what do you think it is about your gorgeous little vintage boutique that makes it so special?
It's really friendly. The service is amazing. It's got personality, and you're going to find it there where you're not going to find it anywhere else.
And how do you feel being part of the resale community of St Albans?
Absolutely amazing. Who would have thought?
Well, I know us have favourites, but you are a sneaky favourite of mine, so I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. Maria, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ellie. Well, that was Ellie with Little Viking, Manna from Little Viking, so again a finalist. And I think it's about time for a little ad break.
The Business, sponsored by Kingston Smith Chartered Accountants. At Kingston Smith, our ethos is simple. We want our clients to succeed. Welcoming owner-managed businesses and individuals, we pride ourselves on offering the local business community a range of services that best supports their needs for maximum growth. Kingston Smith, helping our clients succeed. Find us on St Peter Street in the heart of St Albans, or for more information, head to kingstonsmith.co.uk. You're listening to The Business on Radio Verulam, live from the Alban Arena. We're the voice of the local business community on 92.6 FM and on radioverulam.com.
Yes, and as you heard it, we are live here at the Retailer of the Year Awards in the heart of St Albans at the Alban Arena, and we've had fantastic commentary. Thank you so far to Ellie and Richard, who are mingling in the foyer, bringing in all our nominees, and also to our wonderful guests so far. So we had Silvia Vitiello from the business show sponsors, Kingston Smith. We had Alison Bainbridge from ABA Research, and Julian Smith, who is a funding and business expert. So far, so good, Vicky.
So far, so good. A few technical hitches, as always, but that's live broadcasting for you. And as you can probably hear in the background, we've got an Elvis impersonator on the stage. But I thought it might be quite nice to actually just paint a picture here. We've got lots of beautiful tables. We've got hundreds of balloons. We've got lots of people eating and drinking down there. And we're not far off the time when the awards are going to start. But in the meantime, Richard is downstairs in the bar with those famous boys from the Alternative Barbering Company.
I most certainly am. Come on, boys, give us a cheer. So you won last year, is that correct?
Very correct, yes.
Excellent. It's my first year, so it's the first time I've met you. So are you confident this year?
We're just quite humbled, really. You know, we're just here to support the other local businesses. It doesn't matter if we win or not, because you know we've got it up in the shop, and we're still very proud of it. But it will just be nice to see how it transpires this evening.
So you're just nicely loosening up at the bar at the moment before you go into the main auditorium for the evening's awards?
Yeah, exactly. We've all been out for a little bit after the shop. We've not all had the day off, so some of us are fresh from work, but some of us have had a few hours to get ready.
So just very, very briefly, tell me a little bit about the Alternative Barbering Company. What's so alternative about it?
I think the most alternative thing is it's almost a bit of a play on words. I mean, when you think of an alternative barbershop now, or when you think of a traditional barbershop now, so you just think of the kind of some of them can be quite soulless and a little bit lacking in personality. We try and bring a bit more personality and energy to the environment. You know, we've gone for a bit of a neo-traditional look, so we've got a lot of old things in there. Some of the chairs are over 100 years old. Then we've got some sort of new elements to it, and a lot of interesting dynamic lighting and things like that. So we're a little bit more neo-traditional, I'd say.
So for a middle-aged man like myself, what's the main thing? What would attract me to your salon?
I don't know. It's a different thing that attracts different people. You know, we get people of all kind of age groups, all kind of social backgrounds. Everyone's welcome, and everyone has something different that they like about the place. So the best thing to do would be to come along and see what you like best.
That's a very good sales pitch. And very best of luck for this evening. Boys, one more big cheer before we go. So that's our winners from last year about to come into the auditorium.
And thanks ever so much, Richard, for chatting with those gorgeous barbering boys. Now you can probably hear Ricky Lopez in the background strutting his stuff as an Elvis impersonator. He really is doing a fantastic job. But we just wanted to mention the fact that this evening Ricky Lopez has given his time free of charge to support the Retailer of the Year Award, which is fantastic. Thank you so much, Ricky. We will be dancing and boogieing along to you a little bit later. But as we're just about to go into the Retailer of the Year Awards, it might be an idea to mention who's going to be, what awards we're going to be looking for in the first half of the show. So, the first group category is going to be specialist shops. That'll be followed by food and drink, followed by market traders, hair and beauties, and the Star Awards. And those are all going to be in the first part of the show. Now, we could have a quick look at see who the finalists are in those categories. So what have we got here? Specialist shops. It's a very, very hotly fought category because it's obviously so wide. But this year's shortlist entries are Chantilly Interiors of Catherine Street, Empire Records of Heritage Close, Pots of Art, Holywell Hill, somewhere I went a lot with my daughter when she was growing up, the Printed Clothing Company of Verulam Road, and the Steamer Trading Cook Shop of St Peter's Street. Those are the specialist shops. Last year it was Waterstones who was crowned Specialist Shop of the Year. So it'd be quite nice if it went to an independent this year, wouldn't it, Roma?
Yeah, I think it'd be very nice.
So the next category will be food and drink.
Yeah, well, in the food and drink category, shortlisted we have Baked Nation of Victoria Street, Hotel Chocolat of Checker Street, Simmons Baker of French Row, Tomoka Spirits of Christopher Place, and the West Cornwall Pasty Company of Market. Sorry, lost our little mic there. The finalists again. Shortlisted in the category for food and drink are Baked Nation, Victoria Street, Hotel Chocolat of Checker Street, Simmons Baker of French Row, Tomoka Spirits of Christopher Place, and West Cornwall Pasty Company, who we heard earlier from Marketplace.
Now, I know you're a big fan of Tomoka Spirits. I understand you were drinking cocktails there last week.
I was at Makoko's.
Oh.
And in fact, I've seen the Makoko guys coming in a moment ago. Last year, the winners for this category were actually the boys who we just spoke to, or Richard just spoke to, the Alternative Barbering Company.
So let's move on to the slightly less glamorous, but no less terribly important Market Traders category. This year's shortlisted entries are Alban Blinds, Anthony Lewis Photography, Card Stall Sisters, Carpet Walker and Cheesewheelers. Now the awards have just started, so we're handing over to Ellie.
Big round of applause for the man himself, the editor of the review here. Looking very dapper in his blue suit as he makes his way up to the stage. And here we go.
One thing that Melvin actually, didn't do was when we're announcing our shortlist and the winner is, we like a drum roll of fingers on the table. Maybe we could try
There's a whole orchestra going on right now. A whole band is about to cheer, how to clap, and how to
usually we don't get
do a drum roll with your fingers on the table.
To remember specialist shops as our first one and give them a big entrance. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Retailer of the Year Gala Awards Evening 2014. This is our 7th annual competition, and I'd like to thank you all for joining us on what always turns out to be a special night for all concerned. We launched this competition way back in 2008, seems a lot longer than that, as we look to support and champion the independent retailers of St Albans. We all hoped it would last, and we're delighted to have seen it grow and develop into the popular annual event it has become. That is down to you, our retailers, who remain as popular as ever with your customers. Your good service encourages people of this city to nominate you. A number of retailers have been nominated and shortlisted for the first time this year, which is always pleasing as it shows how competitive this competition continues to be. This year, more than 2,200 nominations were received,
wow,
which is our highest figure ever. Indeed, the first time nominations have topped 2,000. This just goes to show how lucky we are to have an array of shops, market stalls, boutiques, cafes, restaurants and hair and beauty salons at our disposal. In 2008, we were not quite sure how many entries we would receive. However, our inaugural awards evening was a huge success. Each that has followed has built on that success, and now in its 7th year, the response to the 2014 competition has been better than ever before. Well done to all nominated retailers. It has become progressively more difficult to judge this competition over the years. Each and every trader which displays our "We Have Been Nominated" poster is mystery shopped. However, whittling the huge number of nominations down into a shortlist of 5 traders in 6 categories is an incredibly tough job. Which brings me to this evening. Again, we welcome each and every shortlisted trader to the Alban Arena, and I do hope you have a fantastic evening. The joy that one retailer will feel of winning a category, of course, goes hand in hand with the disappointment that others will feel at not being successful. Obviously, we understand your disappointment, but please, please take pride in the fact you've made it so far. The standards are extremely high and the competition is incredibly tough, so please do all pat yourselves on the back for being here this evening with us. It's worth pointing out that in previous years, category winners have been nominated without success a number of times before. It is always difficult to leave nominated traders off the shortlist too, but over the years we've seen retailers bounce back a year later and not only make the final 5, but also win that category. Indeed, last year's overall winner, Alternative Barbers Co., have been nominated for 3 years. Go on, give us another cheer. All right.
Lots of love in the room for last year's winners.
Have been nominated for 3 years previously before finally winning their category, and not only that, going on to be crowned Overall Retailer of the Year 2013. And they're still very happy about it. As usual, this year's competition started back in March when members of our working group met in St Albans Market in a bid to attract some early nominations. After the usual slow start of people thinking we were after debit card details or direct debit details, and we told people they didn't have to pay to enter a nomination, we were soon inundated and the mystery shopping process began. It is thanks again to St Albans City and District Council, St Albans Chamber of Commerce, St Albans Civic Society and the St Albans and Harpenden Review that this initiative works. So thank you to them, and in particular the people who also make this evening come to life. They are Councillor Roman Mills, Melvin Tear, Eric Roberts, Sandra Oldfield, Maria Cutler and Councillor Heidi Allen. Sadly, Sandra cannot be here this evening. She sends her love from LA across the Atlantic. It was a tough choice for her whether to be in LA or here, but she chose the former, sadly. This competition's success is down to everyone who has been involved over the years and those who continue to dedicate time and money to it. I'd also like to thank Council Officers Lorena Caro and Charles Baker for their help this year. We're as committed as... Yes, everyone deserves a round of applause, don't they? Absolutely.
Very supportive evening here, live from the Alban Arena.
We are as committed as ever, and as always, there have been plenty of heated discussions this year, but we've done it again, and I'm sure we'll have another wonderful evening tonight. In 2014, we've been helped as usual in a variety of ways by local businesses, whether that's by way of a category sponsor, a cash donation, or by providing gifts for our raffle prize. So thank you to Italiana, who are our overall sponsors this evening. Thank you also to George, who provided the wine from Italiana. That deserves another cheer, the wine. Thank you to St Albans Market, Christopher Place, the Maltings, Alternative Barbers Co. Feel free to cheer any of these. Waterstones, Hatch, Federation of Small Businesses, Everyone Active, St Michael's Manor, Lussman's, Brasserie Blanc, The Body Shop, Printed Clothing Company, Pots of Art, Tessa Burgess Catering, and Cheesewheelers Studios for a raffle prize. And at this point, I should also thank again, because we did accidentally omit him from the programme, our act earlier today, Ricky Lopez, who is here and he's free of charge, so thank you to him for the entertainment. Thank you to all of you. Your support is very important to us and it makes this competition happen every year. Thank you also to our mystery shoppers who pounded the streets and ultimately handed us our 2014 Retailer of the Year and each category winner with their impartial marking. And thank you also to those who took the time to nominate their favourite retailers. Without the nominations, this competition again wouldn't be able to happen. Right, that's enough from me. Let's get the ceremony started. Like last year, we'll begin with Specialist Shop of the Year. So please welcome Councillor Roman Mills to announce this year's shortlist and winner.
Great category, this specialist shops. Great variety.
How disappointing, no stamping or cheering, just me. Thank you so much, thank you so much.
That's it all now. Stamping and cheering.
Specialist shops, really, are all the shops that don't fit into the other categories, so there are lots of them. So we usually get a lot of nominations, and it is more and more difficult every year to cut those down to 5 shortlisted shops in the area. And I'd like to endorse what Martin's already said. Everyone who's nominated into this competition is a winner because it means their customers value them and like to see them coming forward. But let me go through to the 5 shortlisted finalists, I guess, in the specialist shops category. And the first one is Chantilly Interiors from Catherine Street.
Lovely Chantilly Interiors, been in St Albans for a very long time, brightens up Catherine Street.
Fabulous little shop, always a wonderful window display. If you're looking to purchase curtains, look at fabrics, that's a real good place to start. So, Chantilly Interiors. And the second shortlisted nominee, Empire Records in Heritage Close.
Good old Empire Records. We are a huge fan of Empire Records here at Radio Verulam, pioneering music in St Albans.
I can just about remember David Bowie looking as young as he did on that cover. But I think Heritage Close is becoming... I look at my children, they've grown up in Heritage Close. First of all, it was the Games Workshop, then it was Chaos Comics, and now it's Empire Records. And I went in with my 21-year-old, and I was able to find records from my youth that I enjoyed listening to, and he found contemporary music that he really enjoyed.
Ray was absolutely
so that's
right.
They
boast a selection of pre-loved vinyl and CDs, and also fresh and contemporary tracks as well. We've had them as guests on our show Out and About. Lovely shop, Pots of Art.
Place to go. A lot of kids enjoy going in there and being creative, but it's very inclusive. It opens up to adults of all ages and all abilities. They're made to feel welcome there. They're made to be able to create something and bring a gift home. I've got gifts at home from some of my children that were painted in pots of art, and I particularly treasure to Mum from Dan that holds up in my kitchen. So thank you to Pots of Art for all you do in our city, and we're pleased to see you nominated coming through into our finalists. And the fourth nominee, the Printed Clothing Company Limited in Verulam Road.
We are big fans of the Printed Clothing Company. They print our Radio Verulam t-shirts.
Really pleased to see Printed Clothing come through. They've been great supporters of this competition from the start. Always keen to enjoy themselves and come along and help the rest of us enjoy themselves. So again, very pleased to see them here through to the finals. And the last nominee in this category, the Steamer Trading Cook Shop in St Peter's Street.
Oh, a personal favourite of mine. The KitchenAid and the windows always makes me lust after them and stop. In fact, halt still outside.
Be really ambitious about your cooking. To go and think, well, I could make that if only I could buy these tools, implements and grinders and mincers. But wonderful place for presents, wonderful place for your wedding list if you're getting married. And a lot of fun to go around.
Staff are
I remember last year they were offering people cups of coffee as an enticement. It's now coffee machines in the name. But good to see them here as well. So, this leads me to opening up the envelope to see who is the winner in this
first
category.
Winner of the evening is... Nice drum roll here in the arena.
And the winner, the specialist shop sponsored by Christopher Place, is Chantilly Interiors.
Chantilly Interiors wins it. Fabulous. First win here for Chantilly Interiors on Catherine Street. How about Berlin? Here she comes. The lovely lady in the picture, we can only presume is the owner, makes her way up to the stage to take her award. Very pleased she is this evening of her win. Kicking off the evening in great style. These ladies look chuffed to bits with their win, and why not? It's a great category. Specialist shops in Chantilly Interiors. Oh, they're chuffed to bits. Oh, lovely. Nice big round of applause there for Chantilly Interiors.
Well done to Chantilly Interiors. Well done also to every shortlisted retailer in that category. Right, we move on to our second category of the evening. That is food and drink. That's presented by Melbourne Tier.
Food and drink. We've got the Food and Drink Festival coming up very shortly here in St Albans, and this is just a bit of a taster as to what our top food and drink retailers are.
In the food and drink category, I always enjoy the food and drink category, mainly because it's about food and drink. Can I say thanks to the Alternative Barbering Company for sponsoring this category?
The Retailers of the Year Alternative Barbering Company have sponsored this award, which is lovely.
Here are the nominees for the food and drink section. First nomination is Baked Nation in Victoria Street.
We love Baked Nation. This is one of the sweetest men in St Albans. He's always so lovely and welcoming.
Fascinating discovery. There's an excellent, well-presented independent baker with good facilities and excellent customer service.
Couldn't agree more.
The second nomination is Hotel Chocolat.
Great to have Brown Hotel Chocolat in this as well.
And if you don't know, they reside in Checker Street. It was my birthday, so a tentative service in the sale of a substantial box of chocolates for my birthday, which I've now consumed on my own. Except for the crunchy one, which I actually offered to my wife. The third nomination, Simmons Baker in French Road.
Classic Baker Road. We've also got one in on Hatfield Road opposite Morrison's.
A good all-round baker.
And another one in Marshallswick.
Food with prompt and courteous service. Nomination number 4 is Tomoko Spirits in Christopher Plain.
Favourite of mine, Tomoko Spirits. Love to have a spirit boutique here in St Albans. Really fabulous. Doing vintage whiskies, scotches, champagnes, you name it.
Cocktail maker, excellent service, and the only place I've discovered in Great Britain that will give you lemon bitters and orange bitters.
And Roberto, who is one of the owners of Tomoko, he is a mixologist like you've never met before. He
goes down
literally is a
awfully well
pro,
with the whiskey.
an absolute pro.
The fifth nomination is West Cornwall Pasty Company in Marketplace.
Well, a guilty pleasure of mine, the Pasty Company.
With medical permission, I was able to consume a number of pasties, but I also observed good service and attentive to the needs
it's really
of
great
family
to see
groups.
some brand
They
new
really do look after
independents
the
with some
family
very
well in there.
heavyweight brands in there this year.
In
Really
Yorkshire,
interesting
we say
and really
good
exciting
growth,
for Baked
but
Nation and
strong
Tomoko.
coffee.
Big
Excellent.
congratulations to them anyway for
So,
beating down
the
these
winner
giants.
is
And the winner is for the food and drink category.
Baked Nation in Victoria Street.
Absolutely thrilled. Oh, this is a husband and wife duo. They set up the bakery themselves. She is the baker. He is the businessman. They came into our studio once and bought an array of treats. It was a treat, to be fair. It's delicious. And Anne-Marie and I often potter in there for a cup of coffee and they spoil us rotten. They're going to start doing breakfast, which is absolutely fantastic because we're just going to set up camp all day. Really great. The quality of service is absolutely fantastic and it should be recognised. Big congratulations there to Baked Nation. Husband and wife duo. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations to Baked Nation. Again, well done to all shortlisted retailers. Thank you also to Melvin. Right, on with the next one. That takes us to Market Traders, which is presented by the Civic Society's Eric Roberts.
Market traders are up next. This is a really interesting category and one that I love. Our market is something that we are very famous for, and over the years we must have seen hundreds of market traders, and some have been there for a very long time, so the fact that our market is still going strong is absolutely wonderful.
Right, good evening ladies and gentlemen. After all that frivolity, I'm just going to be serious for a moment or two and give you a very brief history lesson. Did you know that our market actually has a royal charter which goes back to 1553? as does indeed our mayor. Not the present mayor, I stress to add. We may be old, Geoff, but not quite 1553 vintage. And the reason for that, or one of the reasons for that charter, is that it's to protect the integrity of the market for approximately 6 2/3 miles from rival traders setting up. Now, some would say, in fact I would say, that there's already a lot of competition around the city centre, from out of town centres, the internet even, and those somewhat unhelpful parking charges that I hear some of you traders talk about and have some sympathy. And it's all very well for these people, as I read in a rival paper to the Review here in St Albans, I mention no names, someone to write in and say, well, this is all diversity and competition, so it must be good, and it will bring somehow more people flocking into St Albans. Now, I think before we fall for that one, we should just think a bit. We need to be very supportive of our market. Just think what that does. You'll see in our programme, attracting people to St Albans. Just imagine our market if it wasn't there, the effect on trade. And so, was that decision recently of our council not to enforce the charter over a potential rival market the right one? I just run that past you, because if the market, our precious market, starts to get eroded and goes under, I would suggest to you that maybe we are in deep trouble in the trading business and attracting people to St Albans. So that's my serious bit. Now, get down to stuff. We had 23 nominations this year.
23 nominations.
And I would like to thank the sponsor of the book, People Waterstones, for picking up this important category.
Lovely that Waterstones have showed their support.
And yes,
this year.
Because market traders don't have a postal address, yours truly took out the You've Been Nominated certificate, nicely prepared by Lorena, all in plastic in case it was raining. Nice letter from Roma saying, amongst other things, display your poster. And this is a very important point. Display your poster so that the mystery shoppers can come out and judge you. Well, I have to say, of those 23, a good 6 to 8 just didn't bother. And I did remind them several times, so I have to say they fell at the first fence. They were not judged. Now, that's a bit of a shame, but it did make life a little easier for the remaining ones. So there you are. I guess we'll apply the same rules next year, so you and your fellow traders, you have been warned. But anyway, this is a fun evening. Yes?
There we go, back to the party.
So now we get down, still awake, Charles? Good. Hi. To the top 5. And I'm just going to say who they were. And it was close. Boy, it was close. There's a few just out and some very well-known names. But the top 5, in alphabetical order, were Alban Blinds, Anthony Lewis Photography and Framing.
He's a very sweet guy. I've bought from him before.
I stress the and framing. See, I said I'd remember.
It's business.
Those ever popular ones, the Card Sisters.
Oh, I love that we have some sisters. Family market business, how lovely.
The Carpet Walker.
You know, you walk past these people every Wednesday and Saturday and perhaps take them for granted, so it's really wonderful when something like this recognises them and celebrates their hard work. It's not easy being a market trader. It's cold and there are long hours.
And the winner is...
It's tough, but now they're going to be celebrated, and the winner is, for the Market Trader 2014, is...
The Cheesewheeler!
The Cheesewheeler! Oh, one of my favourites, actually. Oh, he's thrilled. Coming on stage with what I presume is his son. Oh, how sweet. He is. Tickle pink. I feel like I should do some cheesy puns. Oh, how lovely if they accept their award. You've got to love a van that carries cheese, right? I mean, it's pretty much everyone's favourite dream. Big round of applause there for the Cheesewheeler. More excitement in here than the World Cup this evening.
Put onto the Cheesewheeler. And the little Cheesewheeler there. I'll just quickly, one thing I'll do is I'll go through each of the category sponsors, because just so everyone knows who's sponsoring each category, we'll give them a big cheer, because I mentioned them all, but we didn't say which category they were sponsoring. So, Vitiello are our overall sponsors this evening, as I said. Specialist shops this year is sponsored by Festive Pub. Food and drink sponsored by Alternative Barbers Co. Market Traders sponsored by Waterstones. Fashion and accessories by the Mouldings. Hair and Beauty sponsored by Hatch. Cafes and restaurants sponsored by the Federation of Small Businesses. And our Star Award is sponsored by the St Albans District Chamber of Commerce. So thank you to all those. Right. We move on with Hair and Beauty. This is where Sandra Oldfield normally presents, so standing in on her behalf is Alistair Woodgate.
Alistair Woodgate, big player in the retail forum. Good to see Alistair here supporting the retailers. One of the owners of
Thank you very much, Martin. I'm delighted to be here on behalf of Sandra Oldfield to present the Hair and Beauty Award. In my capacity as a director of St Albans District Chamber of Commerce, and also as a board member of St Albans City Centre Partnership, which is here to promote and support all of us with city centre businesses. So if you're passionate about your business, and if you're passionate about St Albans, and you're not yet a member of the City Centre Partnership, do please have a chat with me here tonight to find out more. Over 50 retailers in St Albans have already signed up. And now, to our worthy nominees in the Hair and Beauty category, sponsored by Hatch. Firstly, the Alternative Barbering Company, George Street.
And the boys from last year. Quite possibly the most handsome table here tonight, if I may say so.
Overall winner last year, and what an impression they've made in their 3 years since they started up.
Couldn't agree more.
Secondly, Champneys in the marketplace.
Oh, some nice little luxury pit stop
Great
there.
place for a pamper, lovely array of
I mean, that is a mega brand. The fact that we've got an independent stacked up against those guys is really, really impressive.
LS Hair Studio in Victoria Street.
Lovely little hair boutique there on Victoria Street.
A professional, smart, informal studio that prides itself on its personal care. Fourthly, Greys Hairdressing, Christopher Place.
Love Greys. Very, very passionate in there.
28 years now they've been established, and when they're not at the studios in St Albans, they're stylists for London Fashion Week. And finally, in this category, we have Lush in the Maltings.
That's why the malting smells so good.
And what a wonderful array of scents you get before you've even got near the shop.
Alistair
Fantastic. And so we go on to the winner.
And the winner is... Nice mix there.
And the winner is... Greys Hairdressing.
Oh, Greys wins it. Greys steals the crown there from the Alternative Barbering Company. A deserved win, I have to say. They are absolutely fabulous. Completely dedicated, and their level of customer service is excellent. I had the pleasure of working with them last year, and they were, I have to say, an absolute joy to work with. Really professional and incredibly gifted. A very trendy group now makes its way up to the stage. Really gorgeous picture happening on stage right now with Alistair. Big congratulations there to Greys in Christopher Place. proudly taking their plaque back to their table, which I'm sure will be proudly displayed in their salon tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much, Alistair, for stepping in. Congratulations to Greys, and again, well done to everyone who was shortlisted in that competitive category. Right, we move on to a very special award now. It's our Star Award. And to tell us a bit more about that, please welcome Peter Goodman, the President of St Albans District Chamber of Commerce.
Peter Goodman, Director of the Chamber of Commerce, making his way. He seems to have a mini chain on, like a mini mare. The Star Award.
This is indeed a very special award. Unlike all the other awards so far, there is no shortlist, there are no nominations, and the award has been chosen by a committee of those who have been organising this amazing event. I certainly have no idea who has won, so this will be, I suspect, a surprise for everyone, including myself.
Last
and the winner is...
It was a Birdseed Market stall holder.
Empire Records.
And this year goes to Empire Records. Derek Watson and the team at Empire are so dedicated. He is truly passionate about all things music, culture, you name it. He is there. We're so lucky to have a vinyl shop in St Albans. They're so rare and they're such gems, and it's really become a hub of music here in St Albans. Great to see the team there this evening and their work being recognised. From CDs to vinyl, pre-loved to contemporary, they've got it all. And their stock is ever changing, so make sure you pop in there regularly because every day there's something different to enjoy. Big congratulations there to the team at Empire Records.
Well done to Empire Records.
The Business, sponsored by Kingston Smith Chartered Accountants. At Kingston Smith, our ethos is simple. We want our clients to succeed. Welcoming owner-managed businesses and individuals, we pride ourselves on offering the local business community a range of services that best supports their needs for maximum growth. Kingston Smith, helping our clients succeed. Find us on St Peter Street in the heart of St Albans, or for more information, head to kingstonsmith.co.uk. You're listening to The Business on Radio Verulam, live from the Alban Arena. We're the voice of the local business community on 92.6 FM and on radioverulam.com.
So, here we are. We're in the St Albans Arena at the Retailer of the Year Awards, and we've just had the first half of the show, so we have now got some award winners, which has been absolutely fantastic. We've had Empire Records have just won the Star Awards, and we're going to have a look back at some of the other awards shortly. But first, I'd like to just take this little break to just talk about the fact that there's a whole heap of different things that are going on in the UK at the moment that are really, really great for retailers. So we've had our first consumer confidence reaching a 9-year high in May. We've got British Retail Consortium retail sales that are showing that the figures for May are up again, 0.5% on a like-for-like basis. And there's no doubt about the fact that generally consumers are feeling much, much more confident. And some consumer confidence barometer that's run by JFK say that the consumer confidence is at the highest level since 2005, which is fantastic news for all our fantastic retailers. So let's have a look back at the awards that we've seen this first half of the show. So the first one, Roma, was Specialist Shops, and Chantilly Interiors won the Specialist Shops category.
Yeah, I think we heard Ellie say they're new to the awards, and of course this is the first time they've won this kind of award, so very exciting for them. I think the one thing that, again, we know about Chantilly is that they've got this real focus on getting customer service right. It's about bespoking, it's about giving customers exactly what they want. They seem to have a fantastic relationship with their clients. It's a very personal service.
We hear this thing about service time and time and time again in all sorts of businesses, not just retail. But in retail, it's got to be key, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, Alison brought this up as a point. Like you, having done a little bit of research, one of the things that comes out strongly is that often the big brands just can't replicate the experience that smaller businesses can give to customers. And I think, that is something that Alison commented on. It's something that we're hearing time and time again. It's fantastic news.
And one of the other winners of the first half was in the Market Traders category. And Cheesewheelers won Market Traders. And I believe that we have Richard in the foyer with Martin from Cheesewheelers.
We are indeed. Yes, I've got Martin from Cheesewheeler. Congratulations, Martin.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, why do you think you won tonight? What made you the best market trader out of all the others, do you think?
We got the best cheese, first of all, and we're a very attractive stall. Good personal service, and that's probably what it is, Service with a smile and personal service. I had a customer who sent his wife, and I recognized her not by who she was, but she asked for certain cheese, and I knew for who it was. And she said, "My God, you should have a loyalty card or something like Nectar card because you don't, you serve the customer."
So how long have you actually been trading in the market?
8 years.
8 years. And why should I actually buy cheese from a market stall rather than a mainstream supermarket?
Because they are not cheese.
I think we might have lost Richard.
I think we've lost Richard now.
So, sounds like he's got gorgeous cheese. The service issue has cropped up again, as it always does. But trading food on the market, it's quite a big thing these days, isn't it? With the farmers' markets and all these specialist markets that come through from Italy and from France that St Albans see. What is the food and drink manufacturing situation like at the moment?
As an industry, it's actually the single largest manufacturing sector in the UK. Would you believe the turnover currently stands at 92 billion, with a gross value add of 24 billion. So they're accounting for 18% of total manufacturing sector by turnover and employ something like 400,000 workers. So not insignificant. And yes, you're right. I mean, it was interesting. Martin sounded as though he was from perhaps Netherlands. So it looks as though we heard Silvia talking earlier about the importance of international trade. Looks as though we've got a bit of importing going on as opposed to just exporting.
Yeah, that's great. And the markets that we have in St Albans from Italy and from France are fantastic, as well as our own homegrown. Now, I understand that the food and drink category has been won by Baked Nation, and Ellie, I believe, is currently in the foyer with Baked Nation.
I am indeed. I'm right here in the foyer with Akram and Lily from Baked Nation. Guys, congratulations. Thank you. It is very well deserved. As you couldn't hear my commentary, but we were waving a buck for you up there. How does it feel to be the winners?
Weird. I don't know. I didn't think that we would be here. It's only not even 4 months that we've opened, so very surprised, overwhelmed. I don't know.
As you said, you've only been open about 4 months, so you must be doing something right. That's got to feel good.
Well, I hope so. I mean, we've been trying really hard, and it is paying off. It's still early days, but I think and I believe that we are on the right track.
Fantastic. Well, from everybody at Radio Verulam, we wish you so many more congratulations and so many more awards in the future. Guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Back to you guys.
And now we've got to move on from food, which is something that's very, very popular at Radio Verulam. But let's just talk quickly about the hair and beauty category, which is always very, very hotly contested because we have so many fantastic hair and beauty salons and spas, etc. in and around St Albans. So Greys Hairdressing, Christopher Place, I think, as I understand it, they've got 3 salons in and around the West Herts area, haven't they?
Yeah, again, another growing business. And again, great to see that growing businesses are the winner of this particular category. We're talking about a 6 billion total turnover in the UK marketplace for hair and beauty industry, and over 245,000 people employed in the industry alone. And in the next 12 months, statistics show that they're expecting roughly 32% increase in the numbers hired, which is quite a significant amount of hires if you think about it.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Because it's a great place for young people to actually learn a trade sort of on the job, live in store, as it were.
Yeah.
So that's great. And it's such a fascinating industry too. It's something that lots and lots of people just love. Anything to do with fashion, beauty, and hair and beauty, obviously. I was actually in Greys earlier in the week, actually talking to the management team. Excuse me. And once again, it was all about service. It was all about relationships. It was all about the many, many ladies and gents that go into Greys month in, month out to have all sorts of different types of things done. You know, it might just be a blow dry. It might even just be a chat.
Yeah, well, some fun facts for you, Vicky. In terms of males and their visits to hairdressers, most popular male treatments, of course, are the haircut. But number 2 on the most popular treatments is massage. Number 3 is hair removal.
Oh, I say.
Which was an interesting one. Number 4, hair colour and treatment. Number 5, skin treatment. Number 6, nail treatment. Number 7, tanning. This is for guys. Number 8, shaving. And number 9, slimming.
Oh, I say, well, they are certainly catching up with us, aren't they, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
But I'm very glad to say that the number 1 is still haircuts. I'd be rather worried otherwise.
Yeah, interesting though. Would you like to know the stats for women?
Oh, go on then, quickly.
So we've got number 1 haircut, number 2 hair colour, of course, 3 hair styling, 4 manicure, 5 hair removal. I like the fact that hair removal features, but never mind. 6 pedicure, 7 eyebrows, 8 tanning, 9 facial, 10 makeup and 11 nails.
Well, I'm glad to see that our nails are sort of coming in behind the guys. But I think we've now got to go back over to the... No, we're not going back over to... So we've just got a little moment to talk about the Star Award. It's always a very special award that's handed out on the evening, and nobody has any idea who it's going to be going to. And they introduced it in 2010. And it aims to highlight traders who go above and beyond the call of duty. Last year, it actually went to the Birdseed Market stallholder. And this year, it went to Empire Records. Now, Empire Records is proving to be a big favourite with the audience and with the Radio Verulam in particular this evening.
Yeah, and do you know what's interesting, Vicky? I've got a 21-year-old son who is a DJ, and he frequents Empire Records, as do many of his friends. So, interestingly, Empire is extremely popular with the young of St Albans. It's not just as you might think, people of perhaps our generation who remember vinyls. So they appeal to all age groups, which is fabulous.
It's very funny. My daughter when she saw a record for the first time, she thought it was a giant CD.
Yes.
Which is quite odd. But equally, some mates of mine, they've just had a big extension built to their house. They're sort of closer to 60 than 30. And we're in a situation whereby they've actually had a special room built for their vinyl records. And they've got a deck and they've got the whole thing so that they can actually play all the records, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well,
now, we're very lucky to have Richard back up here now. He's clearly drunk too much and has left the bar, but he's here, I believe, with Chantilly.
No. Sorry, that was a question.
No, we're actually here with Greys Hairdressing.
Oh, Greys Hairdressing.
Who won
Sorry
the
about
hair and beauty category. Hello, Clare. How you doing?
Doing really well, yeah.
Brilliant. So congratulations on winning the hair and beauty section tonight. Was that kind of totally unexpected?
It was a little bit, yeah. We were obviously really chuffed to be here, just to be nominated in the top 5, and really chuffed to win it. Yeah, really pleased.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
So for those of us who don't know St Albans that well, where can we find Greys Hairdressing first of all?
We are in Christopher Place.
Right, right in the centre of Christopher Place.
Right in the centre,
okay,
yeah.
Very handy for car parking, that's marvellous, jolly good. Now then, why do you think you won tonight? Because obviously kind of hair and beauty is the thing, because the guys from Alternative Barbering Company won last year, and indeed the overall award. What do you think is about sort of hair and beauty that makes you that little bit special?
I guess we give a really good service. We're all for 5-star L'Oreal service at our salon. And we give a unique experience, we believe, and try and make it a great experience for every client and customer that comes through the door.
So are you a unisex hairdressers?
We are, yeah. We cater for everybody.
What's the percentage of male to female then?
Oh, I wouldn't know off the top of my head. I can
Roughly,
tell you off our reports.
Just a quick straw poll.
No, we've got a lot of guys that come in, and obviously it's majority ladies, but more and more gents coming through the door.
Right. And what are the gents like? What's their favourite kind of haircut, or what sort of treatments do they have?
Well, all the gents are really keeping themselves looking good these days, and really sharp, nice haircuts, and a few of them having a bit of colour.
Right.
So taking care of themselves and just keeping sharp looking.
You said that looking at my grey hair. Are you sort of
eyeing
not
at all.
Me up, thinking,
no,
do you know what,
natural is all good.
And what about the ladies? What's kind of fashionable in the hair and beauty sort of industry at the moment?
There's a lot of diversity within the ladies' hair and beauty, different looks, different styles, depending on what suits you. But obviously, people looking at the magazines and the catwalks, and we follow all of that. So we keep up to date with all what's going on. So different style for every person that comes in, really.
And if I was coming to your salon, or my wife was coming to your salon, how would you make us welcome? What makes your salon just that little bit better than everybody else in West Hertfordshire?
Well, again, we do a 5-star service. We offer complimentary wine if you want, a beer if you're having your hair cut whilst you're after work. A really good service, head massage whilst you're at the back wash having your hair shampooed. A really lovely service, and come pamper yourself.
Brilliant, that's lovely. Well, congratulations. Good luck for the overall awards
Thank
tonight.
you very much.
And lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you ever so much for joining us. We've got an array of winners that are coming to talk to us now, which is fantastic news. But that was Greys Hairdressing who won the hair and beauty category. And thank you very much, Richard, for sharing the fact that you've got such a fabulous grey head of hair. So I think what we've got joining us now is Empire Records, who we were just talking about, who won the Star Award. The Star Award being a very special award that's handed out to traders who go above and beyond the call of duty. So just to remind everybody, I'm Victoria Scott, and I'm with Roma Bomick, and we're at the St Albans Arena for the Retailer of the Year Awards, and we're going to go over to Richard very shortly, who is with the winner of the Star Award, which is Empire Records. Over to you, Richard.
Hi again, hello. We met a little earlier on, didn't we, in the bar?
We certainly did.
Yeah, no, you won the Star Award.
Fantastic.
How unexpected was that?
It was totally unexpected. I had no idea.
Right, particularly as in your category, I think Chantilly Interiors won the category.
And rightly so, yeah.
Yeah, and are we talking sort of, we mentioned very briefly in the bar before the awards tonight about the kind of resurgence of vintage. And is that kind of, do you think, reflected in some of the shops that we actually in the Specialist Awards, really, to be honest?
I'm sorry, I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything at all.
Oh, no, it's worry. That's right. Can you hear me now?
That's it. Brilliant.
Brilliant. Okay. I was just asking you, in the awards, there was a lot of vintage shops, and I think we touched on that very briefly in the bar earlier. The kind of resurgence in vintage. Why is that?
I think there's always going to be an interest in nostalgia. I think I said to you before, as a society, we gave up a lot of things very quickly and wanted to embrace modernity and the internet. And I think people realise that as soon as you give that up, you've got nowhere to go in town.
What was the key to that kind of sort of resurgence into vintage? When did we kind of realise that we took up all this new technology very quickly and went back into vintage? Was there a kind of was there a film? Was there a stage show? Or was it just a feeling or a concert? Or
I think it's hard to define. I don't think there was one particular moment, but I do think that people have realised over the last 2 or 3 years that there wasn't much left. And I think you walk through your high street and you see so many empty units that people started to think, maybe we need to start supporting independent retailers. And it was certainly the reason why we decided to open up a different kind of shop in St Albans to support that.
Right, and I think also Hertfordshire County Council are now also doing an appeal for people to sort of remember the 70s. I mean, when you think of vintage, is the 70s vintage, or should we be thinking sort of further back than that?
I think it depends on your age, really. I think it's a generational thing. So, we had lots of people looking back on the 90s as fondly as we look back on the 70s, or some people look back on the 50s. So I think it just moves on generation by generation.
So it'll be the 80s and 90s in time to come?
Oh, absolutely.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much once again
you're
for
welcome.
joining us.
Thank you.
And congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. So that was again our winner, Empire Records, the Star Awards, and we have Ellie in the foyer. Ellie, who are you with? Hello, Ellie. Can you hear me, Ellie?
The boot. Hello, Sean. Welcome to Radio Verulam.
Good evening, everyone.
How do you feel being here, Retailer of the Year?
It's a pleasure. It's the first time we've been here, actually. So we were nominated for the Festive Retailer of the Year over Christmas, and we won. So we're here to pick up our award.
Congratulations. Well, there is no more festive a pub in town than yours.
Yeah, well, it was a bit of an effort this year, but yeah, we got to kind of beat it this year. So
are you going to up yourself? How do you beat yourself?
For it though this year. So.
What does that mean? Inflatable Santa, maybe a sleigh on the roof?
Quite possibly. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do, but the star was a big hit last year. But I think we're going to change the star, so have more of a feature on the chimney stack.
Fantastic. Well, from everybody here at Radio Verulam, we wish you all the very best. Although you're already a winner, and you're a winner to us anyway. So, Sean, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ellie. So that was Sean from The Boot, who are one of this year's sponsors of the 2014 Retailer of the Year Awards. Now, gosh, it's all fast-paced here. We've got guests flying in and out of the studio. We've got Ricky, who's been singing. That's St Albans. It's all happening here. But I believe now we have yet another winner sitting with Richard. Richard, who do you have with you?
Well, I've got Jackie from Chantilly Interiors in Catherine Street, who won the very first award this evening, Specialist Shop. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much.
So, was that very unexpected tonight, or you've sort of been building up to this, do you think?
Well, we were really hopeful we would win, but we were nominated. We were in the top 5 about 4 years ago.
All right. Okay.
And of course we came along, and it wasn't us that won it. So I didn't really know, but we're thrilled that we've won.
Absolutely. You kind of preempted my next question, really. So you mentioned you were here 4 years ago.
Yeah.
How long has Chantilly Interiors been trading?
The shop's been there over 30 years.
Oh, blimey. Oh, quite a while then.
Yeah. I've only been there for the last 5 years, but the previous owner of the shop was there from scratch. And so
right.
it's long-standing shop. And I used to make curtains for her years ago.
Right, okay. And since you've been there over the last 5 years, what have you done to kind of raise the game to actually bring the shop to be a contender for the awards?
We've just introduced a lot more of the designer fabrics and all the up-to-date fabrics. So as soon as designers bring the new ranges in, we try and keep a selection of all of those. So we're trying to keep up with the trends all the time.
And do you advertise locally, or is it just by word of mouth?
Just word of mouth. We don't do any advertising at all. We've got a fabulous team. My lady works with me, other Jackie. She's been there as well for 30 years, so she knows everything inside and out, but unfortunately she's on holiday this evening.
So you're here sort of representing alone almost?
Yes, I am,
indeed.
yeah.
Okay, so when I look at Chantilly Interiors as a blokey kind of thing, I'm thinking, that's not my kind of shop.
No, get me to the pub quick.
Exactly. If my wife wants to go in there, I'm off. I'm down the pub or into the bookshop.
Yeah.
What have you got in there to attract the blokes?
Just the fact that you can keep your ladies very, very happy. I don't know. Wallpaper, fabric.
That's fine. It's brilliant. Yeah, go on. We're fine.
Yeah, wallpaper, fabrics.
Yeah.
Just anything, curtains, blinds, anything that you need for your windows, we've got it.
So if she needs a second opinion, the guys should come in.
Just say yes.
And your maker's very welcome.
Very welcome.
Well, congratulations, Jackie, once again from Chantilly Interiors in Catherine Street.
Thank you very much.
Thanks ever so much, Chantilly. Now I understand that Ellie is actually drinking with the boys from the Alternative Barbering
To
Company.
say that I'm having a break
Didn't take you long, Ellie, did it?
I am now at the bar with Sam, Will, Taylor and Jack from the Alternative Barbering Company. Gents, hello.
Hello. Hi.
You should see them. I am spoiled right now. I said to the man, it's like a slightly older, sexier, more Game of Thrones version of One Direction down here. It's very exciting, very exciting. Boys, how are you feeling?
Yes, very good, very good.
Having a good evening?
A great evening. I'm buzzing.
Buzzing.
Buzzing! Yeah, I'll back that, buzzing.
These are all excellent words, guys. Are you having a good night?
Blinding.
Blinding. Blinding and buzzing. We're at the bar with the boys and it's blinding and it's buzzing. You're nominated for one final category.
Are we?
Are you not?
I don't know.
We've done hair and beauty.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about your crown? You going to cling on to it for dear life this evening? Or are you going to graciously pass on the Retailer of the Year to somebody else? Yes. No, for hair and beauty, but you're still Retailers of the Year.
Oh yeah, we could still win Retailer of the Year. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Really.
How has it been this year as being Retailers of the Year?
It's been very good. It's been very prosperous. In it's. I think it's something. Yeah, I think it's definitely something that helps businesses out. I think we've grown since this time last year, and I think it had a lot to do with this event.
Absolutely. Boys, how has Sam been since the win? Is he too big for his crown, or is he handling it like a pro?
Never. He's been great. He's been great. He's been very humble. He's been down to earth. He's been like, we've had it one year. Don't matter. It's nice to see someone else take it as well, isn't it? It's nice to see it shared.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to stay down here because this seems to be the place to be. Ladies, back to you.
That's not fair. You should be bringing me a very large gin and tonic.
Well, we have got in the second half coming up the Festive Pub of the Year, as we just heard.
Yes.
So maybe we'll be able to get one from those guys at some stage later. We've also obviously got the second half of the evening. We've also got Festive Shop Window 2013, which is going to be presented by Garant John, the president of St Albans Civic Society.
We've got Fashion and Accessories presented by Maria Cutler. We've got Cafes and Restaurants presented by Councillor Heidi Allen.
There's a prize draw which is going to be going on for the lucky people who are here. Sadly, we won't be able to take part in that. But then, of course, we've got the big grand finale, the pièce de résistance of the evening, when we hear who out of all our award winners becomes the Retailer of the Year 2014. That will be announced by Councillor Roma Mills. It will be presented by Councillor Geoff Harrison, the Mayor of St Albans, a city and district. So we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the second half of the show. We've heard from a lot of the winners. Everybody's getting terribly excited, and there's a lot of excitement going on in the bar.
There is, and we're not there.
Very sad that we're not there. Next year, maybe we'll do the interviewing in the bar, etc. But it's been a great night so far. There's people starting to dance down in the auditorium. There's Ricky strutting his stuff again in his rather fantastic sparkly jacket.
Well, it actually was Michael Bublé. Did you hear that?
That's Ricky Lopez who's doing the show this evening, and he's given his time free of charge in aid of the retailers of St Albans, which is very kind. We've also got balloons everywhere, which, if I remember rightly from last year, are let off at the end of the evening and cause all sorts of problems to the St Albans Arena, because they've got to somehow get them all down before the next event. So it's looking like a very, very exciting second half of the show that's going to be coming up very soon. Before the second half of the show, we will be running a quick clip that is a message from our sponsors.
The Business, sponsored by Kingston Smith Chartered Accountants. At Kingston Smith, our ethos is simple. We want our clients to succeed. Welcoming owner-managed businesses and individuals, we pride ourselves on offering the local business community a range of services that best supports their needs for maximum growth. Kingston Smith, helping our clients succeed. Find us on St Peter Street in the heart of St Albans, or for more information, head to kingstonsmith.co.uk. You're listening to The Business on Radio Verulam, live from the Alban Arena. We're the voice of the local business community on 92.6 FM and on radioverulam.com.
So we are here. I'm Roma Bomick and I'm with Victoria Smith, and we are live at the Retailer of the Year Awards 2014. Yes, Ricky's playing in the background, as you said, Vicky, and we're here and the others are in the bar.
Yes, I don't know, we've got something wrong there, but I've got to say, I'm not Victoria Smith. I'm Victoria Scott. I can't believe after all the years that we've known each other.
What's in that water?
I think you're getting us muddled up with Kingston Smith, who
am,
of course are our
that's it.
fantastic sponsors.
They
So that's we've got to thank them enormously for sponsoring the business. But Ellie's going to come and join us now because Ellie knows practically every single person in retail in St Albans. So Ricky's doing some jokes, Ellie's getting settled with a new mic, and we're just about to go into the second half of the show.
Yeah, I wonder who we're going to have as our winners this time. It's all very exciting.
It is exciting.
Yes.
I think I do find it a little strange that we kick off the first section of the aftermath is with these festive pub concepts. You know, the idea that you've got to think back to what happened at Christmas for the festive pub of the year, what happened at Christmas for the festive shop window of the year. It is a sort of like getting back when retail plans so far in advance. Particularly fashion accessories, of course, which is also a category that's coming up very soon. Cafes and restaurants is always a very, very hotly contested category because we have so many cafes and restaurants in the St Albans area, and there's new ones opening all the time. And I also think that we've looked at cafes and restaurants a number of times on the business show, and what we see is actually there's a real swathe of people that actually see going for a coffee or going for a meal as part of their retail experience.
Yeah, I mean, more and more people are not just going out for the evening or a little coffee. So many more people are lunching. I think, again, statistics show that something like 3 meals a week are being eaten out rather than at home, which is quite fascinating. And again, in terms of more statistics, the total UK food service and hospitality market is worth £79.7 billion. And they're expecting over the next 5 years to reach 90 billion. So it's definitely growing, certainly not retracting. And eating out's become the new norm.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, because it's also, so it's got stacked up by that is the British Retail Consortium sales, which is saying that actually food purchasing is showing decline at the moment. Well, now we know why, because everybody's going out and everybody's in the cafes and everybody's in the restaurants, and that's where they're spending their money rather than shopping. So we are just about to go into the second half of the Retailer of the Year Awards. I'm here with Ellie Afira, Roma Bomick, and I'm Victoria Scott.
Hello, ladies.
And hiya, Ellie. Nice to see you up here. Did you have a lovely time in the bar with
I
those
was spoiled rotten.
boys?
Where's was wonderful.
My gin and tonic?
They bought me a drink over there. I will share it with you both.
Oh, you're a little angel.
So charming. Everyone is in such high spirits. It's a great atmosphere down there. Yeah, really
so who
great
else
atmosphere.
did you bump into, Ellie?
In fact, lots of people were actually replenishing their glasses, as you would imagine from an interval.
Yeah.
So we bumped into Derek. In fact, before he came up to see you, he was absolutely chuffed to bits to win, which is wonderful. I bumped into Catherine Morris, the manager of Christopher Place.
Oh.
She's really proud because 2 of her babies are nominated this evening to Mocha Spirits and Greys.
Of course.
So she's very proud indeed. They're also sponsoring an award, so she's very, very pleased with that. The Bake Nation guys, their husband and wife team, and they're just so sweet. They've been open for 4 months, ladies.
Wow.
4 months.
Wow.
I mean, they must be doing something right to be doing so well after just 4 months.
And who's been your favourite so far, Ellie?
That is a hard one. In fact, my favourite win has to be for Bake Nation.
Oh.
Definitely. They're so sweet and they're very, very humble, and I know they work incredibly hard, so I think that's a very well-deserved.
And you can't wait until they open for breakfast.
I know. They keep toying with this, which is very exciting. Well, I don't think that we are represented enough at breakfast time in St Albans.
No, I agree.
It would be great to have some good indie breakfasts. So of course, there are the Coluccios and the Coates and the Jamies that do lovely breakfasts. But to have an indie breakfast hotspot would be great. Oh, here we go. Ricky Lopez is just wrapping up.
On your table. Thank you very much for listening. I'll hand you back to the gentleman concerned. Martin will be here in just a second, and I'll sing you out after the show. Thank you very much for listening.
So as things wrap up,
thank you very much,
Ricky Lopez, we start the awards again. Big round of applause for our sequined, obviously coiffed hero of the evening.
Okay. We're going back to Christmas now.
It's the Festive Pub of the year.
Back to December. Our Retailer of the Year committee, we noticed earlier on that in the competition that pubs were wanting to be involved, so we came up with the idea for the Festive Pub of the Year.
Highly
competitive, it's now in its 5th year.
This award. With so many pubs in our local area, it really is an extreme battle to win Festive Pub of the Year. And I really think this award has done wonders for improving the appearance of pubs over the festive period, because a lot of them try very hard to look their best for this particular award. So if it's done nothing, it has definitely encouraged pubs to be more beautiful and festive over Christmas.
To tell us more about Festive Pub of the Year, please welcome Councillor Beric Reid.
One of our guests this evening, Beric Reid, taken to the stage. We had a little bit of a salsa downstairs. He doesn't seem to be doing that right now.
It is, yeah, as you said, quite a tough job. We start off in the afternoon, go around a number of the nominated pubs. And you'll notice there's no list of nominations here, because I don't think the organising committee trusts me to actually remember them all from the end of the day. But it was thoroughly good afternoon. And the runner-up, we announced at the time, some of you may remember, some of you may not, but the runner-up was the Hare and Hounds. And the winner this year, last Christmas, the winner has put on a good show for the last few years, and it was really well deserved. And congratulations to the Boot.
We just love the Boot. The Boot is a brand new sponsor of our Sunday lunch programme with Johnny. Sunday lunch with Johnny Seabrook on a Sunday.
I think so.
And we're so excited because we just adore the pub. It's so gorgeous in there.
And he's such a nice guy, always working really, really hard to offer the community something different. That fabulous for out-of-towners who want that authentic St Albans experience, but also a great little local, right opposite the clock tower. Really hard to get that combo of familiarity and being something special for tourists. So big congratulations there to Sean and his team. In fact, he was telling me the other day that when Wimbledon comes around, he's going to lay AstroTurf all the way through the pub, and people can sit and watch Wimbledon on the big screen with their own picnics. So that will be nice.
All pubs who participated. We particularly liked the mulled cider in the Boot this year. It was very nice. While we were doing the Festive Pub over the years, the Civic Society had an idea that we should also look at shop windows around the city, just to try and promote the Christmas feel, to make the city feel a bit more festive. So a few years ago we came up with the Festive Shop Window of the Year. This is now in its 3rd year, I think, or 2nd or 3rd year. And to tell us more about that, please welcome to the stage Geraint John, President of St Albans Civic Society.
I love all these festive awards. I'm a big Christmas fan, so anything that gets us talking about Christmas nice and early, or nice and late, makes me very excited.
What a pleasure it is, ladies and gentlemen, to be talking about Christmas on a nice summer's evening like this. But anyway, the Civic Society stands for a better-looking city, more care for our heritage and our modern buildings, and we care for how the city looks at all times of the year. But this award, of course, is for what it looks like at Christmas. So we've heard about the pubs, and this, of course, now is to stimulate what we think about the shop fronts and the business fronts in the city, and to make them triumph over the festive spirit. So, no doubt we'll have Christmas music starting soon in BHS, but it's really difficult to be thinking about Christmas now. But what we have to say is those people who will be thinking at this award ought to begin their thinking quite soon, so that you can't just arrive at Christmas and put something in the window. You have to do it with thought and with delicacy and with ingenuity, and that's the purpose of saying something to you tonight. So, we have our own awards in October in the Civic Society, and those are for the best buildings. And we hope that some of you will come to that to see what we think are we doing with the buildings of the city. But now it's my pleasure. I just have to do as Beric did. We know that the award has been given. We just have to name the person who's won the award.
And the winner
Ralph, and it's my job to present it, wherever they are. Ralph.
For Ralph. And the raft crew make it to the stage. Of course, no surprise, because they knew it was coming, but they're still absolutely chuffed nonetheless. Lovely to see people dressing up for the occasion. It does feel weird talking about Christmas during the summer, but I think it's a great idea to celebrate the festive windows, because it's a big part of being a retailer is how your storefront looks, and people like Mary Portas and big department stores like Harrods and Harvey Nicks have pioneered fantastic window displays. So it's great that even in the suburbs we are proud and take that on board and showcase our shops from the outside in.
Thank you very much, Deryane. Right, we're on with tonight's awards now. There are 2 more category awards before we reveal. Well, then we'll do the prize draws, in which anyone could win, and then we'll announce our overall Retailer of the Year for 2014. So before we continue with the next category, let's just make sure that you're still in the mood. Shall we do a bit of finger tapping, drum rolling, please? Okay. The tombolas arrive on cue. Thank you, Melvin. Okay, so on to our next award. That's the Fashion and Accessories category, presented by Maria Cutler, the Council's Economic Development Officer.
The lovely Maria Cutler. Oh, looking beautiful this evening in a floral maxi, embracing summer.
Hello, I've got a confession to make. I don't know if Raft recognised me, but after the Festive Pub, which I wasn't drinking in, I went, after having looked into their shop, I went in and bought some twinkly lights. I then knocked over a vase. And you didn't even charge me, so thank you very much. I must buy you a drink later. Yeah. So part of my role, I'm the Council's Economic Development Officer, and one of our roles is to promote the local economy in different aspects. But one of the key areas is obviously the retail community, particularly the city centre. And the city centre is important to the whole economy of the district. And particularly, my category tonight is fashion accessories. And in terms of fashion accessories, it's shops like this that actually attract visitors to the area to come and buy clothing and accessories, but also keep our local residents from not going to Watford and Hemel and Brent Cross. So well done, all of you.
Really competitive category, this one.
And as you're all aware, obviously we have a mixture of fashion accessory shops in St Albans. Particularly we have anchor stores, which actually do retain and attract people. But also we have a vast array of independent shops, which are really key to the local area.
In fact, all of those are independent.
A very difficult task.
Which is fantastic.
Some of our category winners have been
Longtall Sally might be slightly larger than the others, but
very tight competition.
Fantastic to be represented by our independents so heavily in this category.
By the Malton Shopping Centre, so thank you again, particularly to Phil Corrigan, the manager.
Nice sponsorship partnership there between Phil Corrigan from the Maltons and the retailers.
In alphabetical order, the 5 shortlisted category winners are: the first one is Glad Rags in Heritage Close.
Just love Alex from Glad Rags. She is an absolute doll.
Glad Rags is a very unique shop, in Heritage Close in particular. Often people don't realise where Heritage Close is, but it's a very interesting little area, the beautiful cathedral looking down onto it. Glad Rags is a particularly interesting shop in terms of it has that personal touch. If you're looking for that all-important outfit for a particular occasion, Glad Rags is there, and they particularly offer you that personal sort of customer care.
Very, very true.
The second one, in again alphabetical order, is a new shop to St Albans, Little Viking in George Street.
I'm a big fan of Little Viking. I love vintage, and this does it so well.
Fantastic clothing there, also fantastic accessories. You can look, and it's just like a little TARDIS there. It's just off St George Street, so it's really interesting. You have to sort of go out of your way to find it, but it's lovely. So we're really pleased this shop has been shortlisted this year.
Less than a year it's been open.
Our third one, also in George Street, we're not biased towards George Street, by the way, it just so happened, is Long Tall Sally. Again, this is a lovely boutique. They give you the personal touch for the very tall, glamorous woman. I used to be that woman once. I used to buy clothes in Long Tall Sally, but then I shrunk. I don't know what happened. And then the fourth one is Roman, a new shop in the Maltings. Very aptly named for St Albans. This shop actually sells very easy to wear, reasonably priced women's clothing. Very interesting. It's really worth going in. There's a lot in there.
Lovely new shop there in
And our final
the Maltings opposite
shortlisted
Topshop.
Today on the fashion accessories is the dressing room in the High Street.
And then good old favourite, the dressing room. Deryane really setting the standards for retail excellence in St Albans.
Nationally, and it's always in the media. It's a really, really interesting shop. Also, I've heard only tonight, they do sell shoes designed by Vivienne Westwood, so there you go.
I'm wearing a pair.
Our category winner tonight, though, out of all of them, is...
And the winner
I don't
is...
know.
Drum roll. Everyone's getting excited in the room.
You ready?
And the winner is...
The dressing room.
Of course. The dressing room. And to be honest, rightly so, it is really spectacular. Deryane knows what she's doing. I mean, and her troupe of beautiful girls make to the stage. I mean, she just wins Draper Award after Draper Award. I mean, her industry awards now need a whole shelf of their own. She's been voted one of the UK's top most inspirational women in fashion. She's made it to Red's top business women in the world. And she really does represent the UK bright and boldly in the independent boutique front. I think they've got something crazy, like over 10 awards. She's been on many a panel for many a glossy magazine talking about fashion. She started off being the manager of French Connection. She had a little boutique on Holywell Hill where Eternity is, and now they've moved to their big spot in the High Street. Congratulations to Deryane there in the dressing room.
Right, we get nearer to the overall prize, but before that, please welcome Councillor Heidi Allen to tell us about the cafes and restaurants category.
From fashion to food.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I signed up for this category 2 years on the trot, given that I have to join Weight Watchers every year after I've been there. But really, restaurants and cafes are so much the heart of St Albans. People flock from everywhere to enjoy a great meal out in St Albans.
Category again there. Brasserie Blanc, Jamie's Italian, L'Italiana, Thompson's at Darcy, and Verdi's Trattoria.
Thank you very much to them.
Some of our favourites.
Oh, a round of applause. I was serving the wine, so I know you can do better than that. The first nomination in this category is Brasserie Blanc on Verulam Road.
Bit of a heavyweight there in this competition.
Rather than hello, we should probably say bonsoir. They're coming up to 2 years here in St Albans. An incredibly classy and elegant venue, and I don't know about you, but to me it feels like they've been here in St Albans for much longer than 2 years.
It's a lovely fit.
The second,
Beautiful
moving
restaurant.
from France to Italy, we have Jamie's Italian on Checker Street.
Jamie's Italian. It's a bit of a contentious one, this one. People either love it or haven't had a great experience. I find that it's quite mixed, the reviews that I've heard, but great to see them in
The
this
quirky
category.
way they serve food, having your platters on top of upside-down tomato cans, I think is really novel.
That's
it's
very,
a great
very
atmosphere.
true. The presentation is excellent.
Third, our winners from last year, L'Italiana on French Row.
Big family favourite independent here on French Row. Homemade Italian cuisine. Really, really beautiful.
The suppliers of our wine tonight, so I think we should say salute to L'Italiana.
Their pizzas are delicious.
Fourth, we have Thompson at Darcy's on Hatfield Road.
Come from Auberge de Lac at Brocket Hall, where there was 2 Michelin stars, so hopefully it's going to bring some of that starry dust here to St Albans.
So it's great to see this fine institution is still one of the restaurants that's adored by our residents. And finally, in this category, we have Verdi's Trattoria on Clarence Road.
Verdi's Trattoria, perfectly placed.
And I love holidays in Italy, and this place reminds me of the perfect trattoria. Very warm, very cosy, very inviting, very relaxed, and with fantastic views of the park. So...
And the winner is...
I've forgotten my envelope. Glamorous assistant, please.
Heidi's just forgotten her envelope. Beric to the rescue with his
Or
cake.
failing that, Beric.
And the winner is...
You can do better than that. Come on.
Just milking the crowd, people.
And the winner is...
And the winner is...
Verdi's Trattoria.
I'm surprised. Verdi's Trattoria. Well, congratulations to them. It has been a while since I've been there. but it is beautifully placed, right on the edge of Clarence Park. So very many congratulations to them. Up against some real heavyweights, Jamie, Raymond Blanc, and a chef that came from a 2 Michelin star kitchen, beaten by a lovely little Italian in the heart of Clarence Park. Congratulations to them. I don't know about you listeners, but this song is making me hungry.
Thank you, Heidi. Well done, Verdies. Great to see children on the stage as well. Right, we're moving on to our prize draws now.
It just reiterates that most of our businesses are family run, which is really lovely
Mayor
to
of
see.
St Albans City and District, His Honour Geoff Harrison.
The new man, Geoff Harrison, taken to the stage. I think this is one of his first capacities, isn't
I'm
it?
afraid we're going to have to move you to the right because that's where the tombola is. But if,
So whilst the councillors and Geoff Harrison, the mayor, actually do the prize draws, what do we think of the final awards of the evening? What do we think about the fashion and accessories? Deryane is one of our favourite people, isn't she? She's such a fantastic marketeer.
She's been a great guest on a number of occasions. I am sporting the dressing room this evening.
Oh, well, you look gorgeous.
Thank
you do look
so
gorgeous.
much.
Shame it's radio.
Absolutely. No, just as well it's radio. I have a face for radio, Victoria. Yes, so it's been very exciting. And I believe we are joined by a very special guest indeed, giving his services for free this evening in support of Retailer of the Year Award. Perhaps, Richard, you'd like to introduce him?
Yes, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ricky Lopez, ladies and gentlemen, who's been entertaining us in the breaks this evening and before the show. Fantastic entertainment, Ricky.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
That's excellent. Really good stuff.
Thank you.
So you do a bit of Elvis, don't you?
Just a bit, yeah. It's my full-time job, yeah.
And also a bit of crooners. Do you do as well?
Yeah, I do the Ricky Lopez Rap Pack show, which is sort of...
is that a one-man show? Do you do all three?
I do all three. In fact, I do all 17, actually.
Oh, really?
You
just think of Sammy, don't you, and Dean and Frank?
Most people of that genre just do sort of Frank, Dean and Sammy, but because I play trumpet as well, I do a bit of sort of Louis Armstrong, Herb Alpert, Eddie Calvert, all that kind of thing as well.
Oh, my goodness me.
I also play guitar, so I chuck in a bit of Shadows, because it's just good for...
Bit of Hank?
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
And I basically sing any song I feel like singing at the time. So it's kind of Rat Pack and more. And of course Michael Bublé, let's not forget him.
Goodness gracious me. Now, I know I've seen you supporting some famous acts around the country as well.
I have indeed, thank you, yes.
Joe Longthorne comes to mind, I think. Is it Joe Longthorne I saw you do? Or
no, go on him. I've been on stage with... a few years ago I did the festivals, so I was on stage with Blue and Atomic Kitten and Top Loader and
so
Ronan Keating and Hearsay and all that lot. And then recently I did a gig with Brian May, which is...
brilliant.
Yeah, and Katrina and the Waves, of course.
Wow.
And the Trogs and Hawkwind, let's not forget them.
Are you a local guy then, or are you...
I live in Chiswell Green in St Albans, yeah.
Brilliant, okay. Yeah. And I know you've done a video about St Albans, is that correct?
I have.
Tell us a little bit about that, Ricky.
Well, we actually made it for Restaurant of the Year. So what am I talking about? Restaurant of the Year. That's what my mind's on restaurants at the moment because I'm here. Sorry, we actually made it for the St Albans International Film Festival, and it was made by my son Michael Dyers, who owns Chiswell Studios in St Albans, and we made this song about St Albans for the people of St Albans.
And I think, Ricky, we have actually got a clip of it here. So, you can sing along with it, you know.
St. Peter Street on Market Day, a marvellous sight is what they say. Take it away, Ricky. Here we go. When you walk through the town in your chain and your gown, that's St Albans. To keep cool, try our new swimming pool in St Albans. Sing along now, come on. Don't be shy. There's good places to eat, famous people to meet in this city. It's great, isn't it? Though the clock tower's tall, the bell won't chime at all. What a pity.
Such such a pity.
When you walk
Very good, Roman, very good.
going down Fishpool Street, that's St Albans. The climbing wall, let's not forget that. Come see our climbing wall, but make sure you don't fall from above. That was fun to film, I tell you.
How long did it take to film?
On and off, 2 to 3 months, because it was at the beginning of the year when it rained nearly every single day. So we had to wait till it sort of stopped raining, and then we jumped out with the camera and did a bit more. So it would have taken about a week probably, but it took about 3 months in all.
Did you get some very strange looks while you were doing that?
Extremely. I was dressed in a brilliant white suit and a blue shirt, and I was walking through St Albans prancing around. So yeah, I've got some very strange looks, but hey,
I've got
showbiz.
I've got to butt in now and find out where you got that extraordinary blue sparkly jacket.
Well, I did a Tom Jones show years ago, and I wanted his bolero jacket from Vegas in 1978. And I researched, couldn't buy one anywhere, so I had to have one made, and the material cost £300.
Wow.
Then I had to find someone to make it in exactly the same style as Tom Jones, which I did locally, and hence the jacket. It was an exact copy of Tom Jones's bolero jacket from Vegas.
Wow, that's amazing. And I have to say that seeing you this close, I thought that the hair and the sideboards were stuck on, but they're very definitely not, are they?
They are real, because my full-time job is, of course, Elvis Schmelvis.
Yes.
I'm a professional Elvis tribute, and so it's, obviously, should I give away my age? I don't know. I'm 52 now.
You
so
don't look it at all.
I'm kind of grey.
Come here, youth.
I dye my hair every 10 days, so it's jet black.
Well.
But it is real. It's dyed, but it's real.
And
Yeah,
what
but the
about
eyebrows are black.
I kind of paint them in as well.
Ah, right.
what about the medallion? Do you normally wear a medallion?
Well, no, this medallion is the TCB, which stands for Taking Care of Business in a Flash. It's over a lightning bolt, so it's Taking Care of Business in a Flash, which was Elvis's personal motto, which he actually designed this, and he gave it out to all members of his Memphis Mafia. And all the ladies in the Memphis Mafia, he gave TLCs, Tender Loving Cares, over the lightning bolt. So there we are.
And when did you decide that you were going to become an Elvis tribute person?
In 1990, I joined a computer company locally, and I was an engineer. So we went out on our first day to do a job, and they stuck with another engineer, and we went out in the car and we got talking. It turned out we both sang and played guitar, so we formed a duo. And he was a huge Elvis fan, so he sang all the Elvis songs, and I sang all the Stones and the Beatles. And then I copied him doing Elvis. It turned out I was a better Elvis than he was. So I then started doing my own Elvis shows. That got big in the band, so I gave up the band. And then 12 years ago, I was earning more from Elvis than in my day job, so I gave up my day job. And the rest is history.
Wow, goodness me, that's quite a story. And what happened to the other Elvis?
He's still going.
He's going as an Elvis. He's not gone back to engineering or anything.
Well, he's still doing that sort of part-time. But he got a replacement for me in the band, so he's still going. And I've kind of moved on and doing my own big Elvis shows now.
It's amazing. It's amazing how these tribute bands have really taken off and a very, very big business these days. Why do you think that is?
Tributes are the way. I mean, the real thing, there's not many people who you'd actually want to impersonate now, because all the big icons are kind of long gone now. But, I mean, you do get, obviously, impersonators of modern singers, but they'll last 5 minutes and they'll be gone, and so then there's someone else. But, you know, as long as you're doing something like Freddie Mercury, Elvis, Michael Jackson, people like that, there'll always be a market for it, and people love it so much, and they're prepared to pay a lot of money to go and see.
It's all part of the kind of the retro scene, isn't it? I mean, we're talking to the guy from Empire Records, and so people are going back to vinyl now. That's the kind of scene, isn't it? Retro clothing and retro music.
But it's real music, isn't it? It's music which stands the test of time, which the modern music just doesn't.
Brilliant. And as we leave you, Elvis, sing the song.
Oh, thank you very much. Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have me while life's complete, and I love you so. Thank you very much.
Oh, and your backing singer came in. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for doing the Retailer of the Year awards and not charging us. That's so very, very, very kind.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming up.
Cheers.
Well, that was Ricky, or Elvis Schmelvis, and as Vicky said, thank you very much, and a reminder that he has very kindly agreed to do his set this evening for free, and we're getting ever closer to that really prestigious Retailer of the Year award. We've had so many amazing winners in each of the categories, and if you're following us on Twitter on @RVTheBusiness, then you and at Radio Verulam, you will be able to you'll be able to see who all the winners were from each of the categories. I hope you have been joining us on Twitter this evening. We're now crossing live back to the stage.
I think we're going to.
Oh,
right, okay.
We've been waiting for our overall Retailer of the Year. I'm sure you all know the format. Basically, the Retailer of the Year will be selected from one of the category winners. This is a big prize. Everyone here is a winner, I think. Everyone who's been shortlisted has done incredibly well. But we need to recognise one overall Retailer of the Year. Before we do, shall we...
moment of truth, the 2014 Retailer of the Year.
Make sure we're ready. And we'll give one last cheer to our outgoing Retailer of the Year champions, Alternative Barbers Co.
Big cheer here from the Alternative Barbering Company. It's done a stellar year this year.
So to tell us who the overall Retailer of the Year is, please welcome back our Retailer Committee Chairman,
and this
Roma
award
Mills.
can be given to anybody that was nominated this year. So anybody can be Retailer of the Year.
Thank you very much. And I wanted to say, first of all, thank you so much for coming this evening. I mean, this is about actually having 3 cheers for the city centre. And if you didn't come along and make this a lot of fun tonight, it just wouldn't happen at all. It's the generosity, actually, of many traders in the city centre that makes this competition work. It's the generosity of people like Italiana, Printed Clothing Company, Pots of Art. I could name more and more who contribute to making this evening a success by giving goods or by giving money or sponsoring us. It makes such a difference, it means we can keep going. But what we really want to do is bring you all together tonight to have a lot of fun, because it's our city. St Albans is our city. We love it. We want it to work. We want it to prosper. And it prospers because you folk out there, whether it's cafes or restaurants, whether it's shops, whether it's salons, whatever it is, you're delivering a wonderful service. And it brings people into St Albans.
Great words there from Roma Mills. She's absolutely right.
So that's a round of applause for all of you, really. And when you look at the winners this evening, they've come from all round the city, from Catherine Street for Chantilly Interiors, from Victoria Street for Bake Nation, Cheesewheelers, our market traders, obviously, in St Peter Street, the heart of the city. Greys from Christopher Place. Then we've got Heritage Close coming up, not only with the dressing room, and also with our Star Prize with Empire Records. Clarence Road, yes, and a good... Clarence Road from Verdi's. And Verdi's, I think you ought to recognise me. I seem to have been in your restaurant very frequently over the last few weeks, having Parmigiana Italiana. Come on, folks, I've been in there saying, give us a seat at the last minute, and we've been in with my family. So you ought to remember me, really. But it's my pleasure this evening to open up to see who the winner for...
Here we go.
Retailer of the Year will be for this year, and to invite my friend Councillor Geoff Harrison to come up. Geoff, who's been such a support to us for many years.
Out by the new mayor, the right worshipful.
The overall winner for this year, for 2014, is Greys Hairdressing.
Greys Hairdressing wins it. Wow. An amazing night for Greys Hairdressing. They won it from Hair and Beauty. In fact, this is exactly what happened last year with the Alternative Barbering boys. They won Hair and Beauty, and then they went on to win Retailer of the Year. Really, congratulations. And I have to agree, they are amazing retailers. You go in there, and they're always incredibly kind. And as I said, I had the pleasure of working with them last year, and they went above and beyond, threw themselves into absolutely everything. And I know that Catherine Norris is very proud of them there in Christopher Place. She's always singing their praises. And the team do brilliantly well. I mean, not only on a local level, but on a national level as well. They represent St Albans hair and beauty by working tirelessly over London Fashion Week. Not easy to compete in the London market, and they do it brilliantly. Striking a nice victory pose there. So stylish. Everybody from the hair and beauty and fashion is so beautiful. Very excited, chuffed to bits to be winning their award. We couldn't be pleased with them. Congratulations, Grace. What a great evening.
Thank you, Roma. Well done to Greys. I think they were actually shortlisted in our inaugural Retailer of the Year, if I remember correctly, so well done to them. And that's it. That's the end of the show. Thank you all for joining us.
Here at Retailer of the Year. I know we've been really excited and proud to have been part of it. It's been an absolute pleasure to be a fly on the wall this year. If you've been listening to us live, we hope you have enjoyed our broadcast. We're going to hand back over to the ladies who will be wrapping up the evening. But from me, who's been roaming around, thank you very much indeed for listening. Ladies.
Thanks so much, Ellie. You've been an absolute brick, and I expect we'll see you in the bar later. Go and find those barbering boys again. It's been a fantastic evening, and it's interesting to see that once again the Retailer of the Year has gone to a hair and beauty person. Yes. I wonder what it is about hair and beauty in St Albans that make them so good.
Well, we're just a very beautiful city, Vicky. What can I say? We love our clothes, we love our hair and nails, we just love the lot. And in fact, as we saw from the stats, it's not just the women, it's the men too. And so, yeah, that's what it is that makes this place so exciting.
And just to go back to some of the awards that we didn't have a chance to talk about so much, the cafe and restaurant, it sounded as though Ellie was a little surprised by the cafe and restaurant that won, Verdi's Trattoria. It's certainly one that I haven't been to, but I think I'm definitely going to have to go there.
Yeah, I've been a few times. A very traditional, small family Italian business. You get hearty Italian food. It's like being in a genuine Italian trattoria. Very well worth a visit. I would highly recommend it. And very, very reasonably priced.
Well, it just goes to show how awards are effective, because I definitely am going to go along there as soon as the sun's shining. It looks like such a fantastic setting. Now we've just got to go over to our sponsors who've got a few words to say.
The Business, sponsored by Kingston Smith Chartered Accountants. Kingston Smith, our ethos is simple. We want our clients to succeed. Welcoming owner-managed businesses and individuals, we pride ourselves on offering the local business community a range of services that best supports their needs for maximum growth. Kingston Smith, helping our clients succeed. Find us on St Peter Street in the heart of St Albans, or for more information, head to kingstonsmith.co.uk. You're listening to The Business on Radio Verulam, live from the Alban Arena. We're the voice of the local business community on 92.6 FM and on radioverulam.com.
And welcome back to the programme. So we have the Retailer of the Year winner 2014. And it is the very lovely Clare we met earlier on, Clare, didn't we?
We did indeed. Hello. Again.
You've got an even bigger smile on your face this time.
I'm so over the moon, I can't tell you. I'm so chuffed, so surprised at such a big award, and we've got it. So wasn't expecting that at all.
How does it feel?
Amazing, absolutely amazing. I can't wait to tell the owners, who are going to be absolutely chuffed, and Geoff, who aren't here this evening, but yeah, they're going to be absolutely chuffed to bits.
Absolutely fantastic. So what do you think, once again, and I know you sort of touched on this earlier, elevated you to Retailer of the Year 2014 for St Albans, not just in the hair and beauty, not just in the high street, but for the whole of St Albans?
I guess, it's what I said earlier. I guess the clients and customers recognise our service as soon as they come through the door, you know. It just shows us that what we're doing, it's right. We're doing something right, and obviously they're awarding us with this brilliant award that we've won this evening, and it goes to show that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're doing the right thing for our customers and clients that come through the door, and that's all we are trying to do. So
obviously you've got a whole night of celebrating now, haven't you?
We're all at work tomorrow, unfortunately, and I'm driving for some reason. I shouldn't have done that.
Can you believe that? So
we'll have to maybe try and make different arrangements.
Have a bit of a night
I'll maybe not have clients tomorrow.
So how do you move on from this? How are you going to get bigger and better?
Well, I guess just keep doing what we're doing and continue getting better and growing with it, and recognising this award is obviously a great recognition for us, so we'll just continue doing what we do. And
how do you think you're going to use the award in your marketing?
I don't know. I guess I'll leave that to the owners. They do all the marketing. Geoff, who'll put it all on our Facebook account and all of that sort of thing. We'll get it in the paper, obviously, with the review. And
we've been tweeting and we've been broadcasting, and we do hope that it'll bring you lots and lots more business, because you certainly have had a fantastic night.
Yeah, brilliant. Really unexpected, but absolutely brilliant evening.
So you don't think it might be worth actually grabbing a cab and having a glass of champagne?
Well, maybe, but have got work tomorrow and I wouldn't want to let my clients down. But yes, maybe one glass of champagne will be in order. So
it's really lovely that you came up. You should be with your colleagues. Thank you ever so much, and mega congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's been a brilliant evening.
Have some champagne tomorrow night, maybe.
Yes,
Thanks ever so much for joining us.
Guys. Thank you.
Well, isn't that fantastic? Our latest winner, Greys Hairdressing, the 2014 Retailer of the Year. We've had so many amazing people. And in fact, I have to ask, I was going to say I have to ask Richard how it felt rushing around, having to interview all these wonderful guests. He's certainly... Richard, I was just saying, sorry to interrupt you. I said I have to ask you how you're feeling, having run around the whole auditorium all night, grabbing people here, there and everywhere, doing all the interviews.
Well, I think I've had one of the best jobs, really, because I've kind of been a bit of everywhere. I've been up here in the gallery with you in the studio, and also down there on the floor, amongst the tables, meeting the winners, and in the bar area. So it's been absolutely fantastic. I've really enjoyed my first year.
Brilliant.
And I hope you're having back next year.
Absolutely. Team Radio Verulam on the business. And I believe you've got another one of our special guests, one of our sponsors, actually.
Indeed. Good evening, sir.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hello, and your name is?
I'm Martin Bahaja from The Review and Compare for the evening.
That's right, you've been doing very hard work on the stage there, haven't you?
Yeah, it gets a bit hot and sweaty from time to time with the spotlight on, I have to say.
And it's a very warm evening, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Doing a bit of air conditioning backstage.
Now, I have to say, you seem a bit of a natural down there as a compare. Have you done this before?
Well, this is our 8th one, so originally we were actually going to ask somebody to come and compare, and we didn't know who to do it, so I just said, well, I don't mind doing it, and it's really stayed since then. So, but I'm always happy to be involved. It's a really good evening. The atmosphere is always fantastic. So it's a privilege to be
involved. As a first timer, I can't believe how good the atmosphere has been. Actually,
oh,
tonight.
Thanks.
It's absolutely incredible. Everyone. So even those companies who haven't actually won an award, they'll all be kind of supporting each other in their own group, which is actually fantastic.
Yeah, we always try and emphasise that we think that anyone who's shortlisted is, or anyone who's nominated is a winner, let alone then making the final 5. And the standard is incredibly high, and our mysteries put them all to the test, and it's always a really, really difficult job whittling them down to a winner. But as I said during the evening, I think they're all winners just getting this far, so fantastic.
And Martin, you've been doing this, as you said, for about 9 years. We've seen you up here, and we've seen you down there on many, many occasions. You must have a favourite category.
Well, I think it's... whenever we build up, I think I lost the mic for a second. Whenever we get going, it's always the cafes and restaurants and the hair and beauty categories that seem to be the most. They're very passionate in the crowd, and it seems that we have a very competitive shortlist. But I think they're all good. Funnily enough, when we started 8 years ago, the market traders was always the most competitive. So it changes from year to year, and. It's just a fantastic night. As I said, we think they're all winners, and it's all just good fun. That's the idea.
I think Beric said it earlier that it seems every year there are more nominations. Every year there are more people voting. Do you see the being any changes over the next year for the 2015 awards?
We brought the Star Award in a few years ago just to add to it. That's the shop that goes above and beyond the call of duty, or a shop that's been around for a long time. And we've looked at maybe doing a non-city centre retailer, because we have a lot of people who are nominated who aren't from the city centre. But this all came off the back of a St Albans review campaign, Save Our Shops, when parking charges were high, roadworks were causing shops to shut, and it was all about emphasising that city centre shops were there. And as much as there are great shopping centres around Watford, Brent Cross, it was a way of almost trying to say to people, you don't have to go that far. There are really good independent retailers here. Let's use them.
But what does make us so unique, Martin?
I don't. It's a really strange one, because since I was editor of the review, I'm still with the company, but I'm now editing in North London, and we've actually said about doing this in other areas. But I actually don't think it would work in many other areas than St Albans, because St Albans has so many independent retailers, and they're very well supported by local people. It's just incredible, and you get this from independent retailers. I think we have chains shortlisted, but you really get the buzz from those that own the shops. They put their heart and soul into the shops, and they come here and they support these events. And as you've heard me say probably countless times tonight, probably too many times, but I wanted to emphasise the point, the support we've had from these shops in terms of raffle prizes, category sponsors. We don't make any money from this. It's a self-contained, the review, the district council, the chamber and the city society don't make any money from this. It's all a self-contained event, and we rely on donations and sponsorship. So and that's why it works, because people care about the city, I think.
So where do we go from here? Obviously it's been 8 years, as you say, since your involvement with Retailer of the Year, since Retailer of the Year. Where do we go next year in terms of bigger, better?
Yeah, we have a wash-up meeting before the Festive Pub, funny enough. We get involved in, so we'll get together in September, have a wash-up meeting about this before we start planning for Festive Pub, and really work out how we think we can improve the event, and that's how the Star Award was born. It might be, I personally feel that maybe a non-city centre category would be good, would benefit the area, because there's shops in Marshalls, there's shops elsewhere that want to be involved, which is great. And what we have seen is that every year we get more nominations. So, right, we had 2,200 nominations. That's not 2,200 shops, but that's 2,200 people nominating a retailer, which is a phenomenal amount. And it's grown every year. The year before was 1,700, so it's just getting bigger and bigger.
And the review's always been involved with this. What does the review get out of it?
We don't really. I mean, we've got a table here today, and what we get out of it, we don't get anything financial. What we do get out of it is letting our readers know and shopkeepers know that we're behind them. And as I said, this actually came off the back of when I was editor. We launched a Save Our Shops campaign, and that was really something. I was a campaigning editor. It was something we wanted to do because we felt that shops were closing because rates were high. Parking was high, there were roadworks everywhere, and people couldn't stop in to pick up a loaf of bread or a newspaper, and we were just trying to really support them and say, look, we're on your side, because sometimes newspapers can sometimes forget what they're about, and that's what we're there for, to champion local causes. And we've just always stayed involved, and it's something we feel passionate about, and we want to stay involved in it. So.
It is fantastic, and it's really what local newspapers are all about, isn't it? You know, it's about local people, it's about local business, it's about local stories that affect the local community, whether that's business or consumers.
Absolutely. I think newspapers are there to campaign, to fight for local causes, not necessarily to churn out press releases. And I'm quite proud of the way we launched campaigns in St Albans, perhaps when that wasn't happening, and I even think that other newspapers in the area followed suit. They followed us down that road, because we were doing this 7 or 8 years ago, and that can only be good for the people of St Albans if they've got 2 newspapers champion their cause. You know, it's good for the city. So,
do you live in and around St Albans?
Yes, yeah. So
have you eaten in some of these restaurants? Were you surprised by any of the award winners this evening?
No, the only thing that pains me every year is that we can't shortlist as many. It's very painful. Last year I mystery shopped 2 restaurants with my wife. Last year, actually, my wife had 2 mystery shop meals and also had her hair done in one of the hairdressers. So she did very well, and then she was entered in the mystery shopper raffle, and I thought, if she wins this, she's done very well. But that's what we do, and again, that's us supporting our local businesses and just enjoying the services they offer. But it's so competitive that the longer it goes on. I mean, the Greys, for example, winning tonight, they were shortlisted the first year, and they've supported us every year. Alternative Barbers winning last year, they were shortlisted or nominated for 3 years but didn't get anywhere. So it just shows that just because you don't win doesn't mean you'll never win. And we always want to emphasise that point, that that every year it's an impartial mystery shopper who'll put them to the test, and it might be something they see or do that really sets them apart from the others, and it also keeps the shop traders not necessarily on their toes, but keeps the competition high, keeps their trade high, and
it keeps the quality of service in St Albans high. It keeps the independents going versus the nationals. And it works for everybody then, doesn't it? And from a manageress's perspective, it's a really good way of keeping the staff motivated.
I think so. You've seen tonight, it's wonderful to see people turning up and taking out tables of 10. The staff have a great night out. There's free wine, free food, and again, you don't have to win to enjoy the night. And if people could see the forms we see, that there's half a point in between, they'd really understand how close it is and how proud they should all be, really.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you're going to go and join the party.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll see you in the bar later. Thank you ever so much,
I just want to say thank you also to Radio Verulam for supporting us the last 2 years. I really feel that you've added something last year and this year, because obviously people can't be here. So it's fantastic to see the work you're doing. The volunteers, you've done a great job.
Mutual Appreciation Society.
Absolutely,
That's
yeah.
fantastic. Have a great rest of the evening.
And to you, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you, Vicky. Well, I'm here with yet another VIP. We have Alistair Woodgate, Director of the City Centre Partnership, which is the initiative Beric mentioned earlier, and also Director of the Chamber of Commerce. Alistair, welcome.
Good evening, lovely to see you.
So how has your evening been?
It's been fantastic. It's so great to celebrate all that's going on in St Albans and the wonderful retailers that we've got. I think the thing that separates St Albans from so many other cities is there's so much going on, there's so many independent retailers, it's really distinctive, and that's something that we really need to celebrate and shout out about, and tonight is an occasion to be able to do that, so it's been a really wonderful evening.
And so how will your involvement in terms of the City Centre Partnership take that forward?
Well, what we're aiming in the City Centre Partnership is to be able to offer all the retailers and businesses in St Albans the same sort of marketing team that places like the big shopping centres have. So if we can all come together and run our own marketing team between us, then we can really compete with some of the out-of-town retail centres, because coming to St Albans to shop is distinctive, it is very different, so we really need to let everybody know about that. So the City Centre Partnership is going to work as a team, bringing together all of the businesses. It's business-led with the support of the local authority, so bringing everybody together to really sell everything that's great about St Albans. It really is a beacon of excellence, and that's what we need to tell everyone about.
And has that already kicked off, the initiative?
Well, we've set up a community interest company, and we've set up bank accounts so that we can run the whole process. We're now going out, and we've had pledges of support from about 60 retailers so far. We'd like to get that number up to 100 before the end of the year. I'm sure we will. And once we've got that together, our first aim is to get in place a city centre manager. And with a city centre manager on board, they can get involved in doing all the publicity and promotion, and really acting as a funnel for all the great ideas that are coming from retailers and turning all of our ideas into actions.
That sounds like a very exciting job.
How
far are you along in terms of the recruitment process?
We hope that's going to start in September. Realistically, it probably means a city centre manager joining us in January, but that gives them 12 months to really get to grips with things, so that perhaps by this time next year we're looking forward to a really bonanza Christmas.
Well, let's hope that that they can come along and talk to us at the Retailer of the Year Awards 2015.
I'm sure they will be there, and it would be lovely to see them there.
And maybe we could get you onto the business show sooner than that.
I'd love to. Just let me know when.
It sounds like an extraordinary initiative, and it's taken a lot of time and effort and energy and everything else to put together, and Beric was talking about it earlier. You say, obviously there's going to be somebody in place, and they'll have a year or so. How difficult is it going to be to make that, to reach the aims that you've set? They sound quite steep, quite high.
It is a great challenge, but we are so passionate about St Albans and what it's got to offer that there's so much enthusiasm from the businesses that have got this into place so far, that the drive and enthusiasm is there. We're not ones to let a challenge defeat us, so we're really looking forward to what lies ahead.
That's fantastic. It sounds like a great initiative. You really must come on to the business show and talk about it in a little bit more detail, because I'm absolutely sure that our listeners, who are very definitely in the B2B category, would be very, very interested in everything that you're doing. And I think on behalf of St Albans, we need to thank you enormously for all the effort that's going into it.
Well, thank you too. It's a great team, and you're part of that team. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you, Alistair. Okay, so now a change of tempo. We actually have an entertainer with Richard.
We do indeed, just to kind of wrap up the programme, because I don't say it's been a serious programme, but we've been doing a little bit of fun tonight, a little bit of serious business stuff, as you always do on your programme. And I thought it'd be really fun to actually finish off with a guy called Marco. Good evening, Marco.
Hello, how are you?
Now, I'm very well, thank you, and yourself?
Not too bad.
Good. Now, you've been entertaining people throughout the evening. I've noticed you in the bar before the show started and sort of moving around the tables. Tell us what you do.
Well, I just do close-up magic, wandering from crowd to crowd and showing them tricks.
Brilliant. So how long have you been doing that for, and what got you into magic?
About 30 years. What got me into it was I ran a bar for 20 years. backstage at Hammersmith Odeon, if you've
Right.
ever heard of that place.
Yeah, I have indeed, yeah.
And I used to do tricks backstage just to entertain myself and keep people in the bar, really.
Brilliant. Okay, now while we've got you up here, is just kind of finish off our special business outside broadcast tonight. Because, the business, it's pretty sort of serious stuff normally when they do the normal programme. But as I say, we had a bit of fun tonight. Now, we're going to try something on the business that's probably never been tried on radio before, and certainly not on Radio Verulam, certainly not on the business. Can we do some magic on the radio?
Well, it's not always easy to do magic on the radio, but I've got a little thing that you can do, and it's just this. And you can do it at home as well.
Right, go on, try me.
I want you to imagine you're in a hardware shop and you want to buy a pair of scissors.
Right.
Okay, the guy behind the counter's deaf.
Yep.
How do you let him know you want to buy scissors?
I would do that.
That's right, that's the right thing.
Can I just explain what he's doing? He's
Yes,
doing
of course.
that scissor movement with his fingers.
That's right, that's the right answer.
Yes,
It's not a trick question. Yes.
Indeed.
So you're next door to the pet shop, you want to buy a dog, the guy behind the counter's blind.
Yep.
How do you let him know you want to buy a dog? Why don't you just say, I want to buy a dog?
That's true. I love it. How good is that? What a great one to finish with.
That's interesting as well, because I would have automatically barked. I think panting might get you into all sorts of trouble.
I've got a big black Labrador, and all he does is pant all day.
Yeah, most people bark.
So I think we're going to leave you with some panting on the business tonight, which we've never done before.
Oh.
So, Marco, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.
And thank you for entertaining us all evening.
My pleasure.
Absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant. Panting, please, Richard. We're not that kind of show.
You are now. I've been on it.
Well, it's been a stunning 2014 Retailer of the Year award. We've had some super highs. We've had great fun as a team. We really, really have enjoyed ourselves here tonight, haven't we, Vicky?
Oh, it's been absolutely sensational, and it's always a party downstairs, but we have a bit of a party upstairs too. And thanks enormously to Ellie O'Feara, to Clare McAnulty, our producer, and to Nick Hazel as well, who's here. So it's just been fantastic.
It has. It's been absolutely wonderful. I'm very much looking forward to next year, although we've got a whole year ahead, of course, of lots of wonderful shows with wonderful guests. I think we've picked up a few new people on the way. There are some additional thank yous to the production teams. James Vorton, David Neal, Anne-Marie Mill, Nick Hazel's been mentioned, Trevor Meriden, our executive producer, Clare McAnulty. And from the Alban Arena, it's most certainly a good night, sadly. And we're following the programme, going across to Alex McKay, who will be joining us for Monday Music Lab. Well, have a great time, everyone. I hope it's been a fantastic evening for you. I hope you've followed us on Twitter at RV The Business, and we look forward to seeing you, or rather, speaking with you soon. Take care.